Chapter 44. Shisheng chatted happily with the two girls, and even exchanged phone numbers towards the end. When Lu Qingyun picked up Old Master Lu and left with several bodyguards, many people finally noticed Shisheng, and the airport became lively. Luckily, Old Master Lu's bodyguards were strong enough, and the group of people left the airport safely. Many fans expressed that they were hurt 10,000 points. Little Meatball was actually at the same airport as me, but I didn't see her. Little Meatball and Gold Darren are showing off their love in public. I want chicken-flavored dog food. Darren's autograph. He's so handsome. I feel like I'm going to turn gay. The last one was the most popular. Not only were there close-up photos, there were also group photos and autographs. Many fans expressed their envy and jealousy. Why didn't they notice their Darren? While the netizens were being abused, Shisheng and Lu Qingyun were eating with Old Master Lu. Xiaowan, you've been dating this brat for so long. When are you going to hold your wedding? Old Master Lu looked at Shisheng amiably. Shisheng's hand that was holding the spoon trembled, and he laughed dryly. Grandfather Lu, we're still young. Long my ass. Plus, I only want to spend Lu Qingyun's money. I'm not thinking about marrying him. Old Master Lu, don't try to pull strings. We're not young anymore. When I was this brat's age, his dad was already old enough to buy soy sauce. Grandfather is old now. I want to see my great-grandson while I'm still alive. Shisheng kicked Lu Qingyun under the table, but he merely swept her an indifferent gaze before turning to speak to Grandpa Lu. Grandpa, pick a date. Xiaowan and I will listen to you. What? Lu Qingyun and Old Master Lu looked at Shisheng at the same time. Shisheng hurriedly covered his mouth. I just think it's too fast. I think Qingyun and I still need to cultivate our relationship. Right, cultivate a bit more. Shisheng nodded heavily towards the end. Cultivating after marriage is the same. Plus, grandfather can see that your relationship is very good. Grandpa Lu was grinning from ear to ear. It's settled then. I'll go back and check on the date later. He had specially come back after seeing the news online. No. Xiaowan, who else is in your family? Tell Grandpa so that Grandpa can make arrangements. I won't marry him. Little brat, you have to prepare for the wedding carefully. You can't let Xiaowan suffer, otherwise, I won't forgive you. Grandpa, don't worry. Shisheng. Let me say something. I haven't agreed yet. Is it really okay for you guys to talk to yourselves like this? Shisheng was married just like that. Only after Grandpa Lu had left did Shisheng look for Lu Qingyun to settle the score. Lu Qingyun very neatly waved the check in his hand. The string of zeros on it bribed Shisheng in a matter of minutes. Isn't it just getting married? That's easy. But, Mr. Lu, don't you want to add a few more zeros? I'm a virgin, and you want to buy me back with such a small amount of money. Isn't it a little too cheap? Raising the price on the spot was something she could do casually. Marry me. What's mine is yours, isn't it? Shisheng blinked. That makes sense. But I haven't married you yet. Don't change the topic. Lu Qingyun. He suddenly regretted it. Was it too late to tell Grandpa to cancel the wedding now? Shisheng had been busy trying to show off his affection for Lu Qingyun in front of Old Master Lu. Other than filming, the two spent most of their time together. There was more and more news about the two of them online. And Lu Qingyun's identity was finally dug out. The biggest boss of Yujian Entertainment, and the heir of Lu Group. The identity of the sugar daddy blinded the eyes of this group of people. Did Little Meatball save the Milky Way in her past life? Shisheng was so busy that he almost forgot where his company was. It wasn't until Xiaoman called him that he remembered that he was still the boss. It was time to pay his salary. When he returned to the company, he met 4 little fresh meats. These 4 were very popular, and had already released an album. The sales were optimistic. Shisheng still had the deepest impression of Jiang Ming, because he could take out food anytime and anywhere. Little Ming, give me some food. Jiang Ming. Why did Sister One ask him for food the moment they met? He took out a bag of jelly beans from his pocket, and handed it to Shisheng. Shisheng revealed an expression as if he had expected it. This guy was wearing a costume for a performance. What if the jelly beans jumped out during the performance? Jiang Ming, Han Ling gritted her teeth and glared at Jiang Ming. How many times had she told him not to hide food in his pocket? Jiang Ming shrunk his neck and looked at Shisheng for help. Shisheng took the jelly beans and waved at them. Good luck, little fresh meats. Sister Wan, does your sugar daddy know that you're so fashionable? When he arrived at the office, only the CEO was there. Tang Yin and Xia Man were nowhere to be seen. The CEO had a deep impression of his boss who only knew how to give him money. Shisheng signaled him to ignore him and go to the sofa to watch them fight. It wasn't until Shisheng was getting impatient that Tang Yin and Xia Man arrived. Xia Man's expression didn't look too good while Tang Yin was injured. You two, what are you doing? What are you thinking about? Tang Yin glared at Shisheng. Xiao Man met Xiamo. Oh, I'm not thinking about anything. Shisheng hugged his phone and shrunk back to the sofa. You're thinking too much. You're blaming me for being dirty? I'm not taking the blame. Xiao Man sat next to Shisheng with her head lowered. She looked a bit embarrassed. It's not easy to find a three-legged toad, but a two-legged man is everywhere. Miss Xia, what are you thinking about? Shisheng whistled at Tang Yin. Tang Yin pushed his glasses up and ignored Shisheng's flippant words. Xia Man smiled bitterly. We've liked each other for so many years. How can I stop liking him just like that? But what did he say about her? Then go abroad to treat your wounds. Xia Man looked at Shisheng in confusion. Tang Yin, there's a movie in Hollywood that's looking for an Asian face. Take Xia Man to try it out. Shisheng patted Xia Man's shoulder and suddenly asked seriously, do you still want to reconcile with Xiamo? Xia Man froze for a moment and then shook her head firmly. Xiamo was no longer the person in her memory. They couldn't go back. Then go. Don't come back for half a year. Don't ask me why. Trust me. Great. They've successfully separated the couple. I'm going to add to my list of achievements. Xia Man left with Tang Yin. Shisheng was temporarily acting as the artist director. The consequence of letting Shisheng be the artist director was that the company had a bunch of good-looking newcomers. In Mantion Entertainment, if you weren't good-looking, you wouldn't be able to show your face in the company. Even the cleaners had to be good-looking. They didn't need any artistes to keep up appearances. Mantion Entertainment. The professional CEO was very upset. Was he running an entertainment company? Why did it feel like he was running a brothel and he was a procuress? No, his boss was the procuress. At most he was a pimp. When he thought about it, he really wanted to resign. Hashtag the company that owns the entire entertainment industry's face. Please recognize the famous brand, Mantion Entertainment. There's only one company and no other branches. Hashtag asterisk two-legged readers are hard to find. But readers who bring their own stools are everywhere. 700 plus recommendation votes. Looking for votes, looking for tips. Chapter 45. Xia Xian didn't commit suicide. She was murdered. The murderer was Zhou Yi, the son of a government official. The photos and videos that Shisheng had obtained were all from his computer. After that incident, Zhou Yi had left the country with those things, and had been abroad ever since. However, he was that kind of person. He couldn't stop the evil and dark thoughts in his mind. At first, he only looked at those photos and videos to relieve his desires. As time passed, those things couldn't bring him much pleasure anymore. He couldn't help but take action. After the first time, he tasted the sweetness and fell into the endless abyss again. After so many years, no one had ever found out. He even found a few like-minded friends. However, not long ago he received some cursing messages. From those words he saw Xia Xian's name. He only knew that something big had happened after searching the internet. He didn't even know why he wanted to kill Xia Xian. At that time, it was as if there was a voice in his head that kept telling him to kill Xia Xian. Zhou Yi was arrested and he confessed what had happened. He even had the video of several people dismembering the bodies. It was bloody and cruel. He said that everyone had taken drugs at that time. They found the couple in the old school building. They wanted to abuse them because they had more people. However, the couple resisted fiercely. The girl was pushed by someone, and her head hit a sharp object on the ground. She died on the spot. When the boy saw this, he resisted even more fiercely. The group of people were so high that they didn't even realize that someone had died. Instead, they abused the boy, causing him to be tortured to death. Zhou Yi couldn't remember who had suggested dismembering the bodies. There was sufficient evidence in the video. Xia Xian was sent to jail. Those who were involved were all arrested by the police. This matter was so big that no matter how powerful those families were, they didn't dare to do anything brazenly. They could only hire lawyers and follow the procedures. According to the instructions of their families, they all said that they had taken drugs and weren't conscious at that time. It was manslaughter. However, the police saw from the video that their minds were normal, and they were conscious. After dismembering the bodies, they even knew to erase the evidence. The police believed that it was intentional homicide. The police also found a few people who had been abused and persuaded them to testify in court. Perhaps they were afraid of revenge, but only one of them stood up. Even so, those people were still convicted of intentional homicide and intentional injury. Because of the vile circumstances, their sentences were heavier. However, not long after the verdict, Xia Xian and Zhou Yi were sent to a mental hospital. After reading the report, Shisheng smiled silently. Did she think that she could escape from the mental hospital? In that place, even if she wasn't sick, she would still get sick. How long could Xia Xian last? It was all thanks to Zhou Yi that Xia Xian was finished so quickly. If it weren't for him, Xia Xian wouldn't have stayed in the hospital for so long. She would definitely still be alive for a while. Xia Xian's line could be considered complete, so Mo could be handed over to Lu Qingyun. The next step was to reach the pinnacle of life. Oh, right, there's also that bunch of scumbag relatives. Lu Qingyun lived up to Shisheng's expectations, and quickly made his move against Mo. Mo's Dongfang Entertainment suffered the most, but the Shi family's other businesses didn't have any problems. It was as though he was only targeting Mo. The change of ownership of Dongfang Entertainment became a hot topic after the 211 dismemberment case. Lu Qingyun gave Dongfang Entertainment to Shisheng as a wedding gift. Shisheng turned around and sold Dongfang Entertainment out. Hence, Dongfang Entertainment made the headlines again. In a short period of time, the company changed owners one after another. The wedding was set for the 9th of September. After Shisheng finished filming, he didn't take on any new projects. Since the wedding was set overseas, Shisheng didn't have much to do. Other than going to the office, all he did was eat, sleep, and shop. The netizens all expressed that Shisheng's wedding was bad news. Their little meatball was getting married. Although little meatball is getting married, I still love her like a mouse loves rice. Sugar daddy, you must treat our little meatball well. Super well. Little meatball is getting married. I'm against it. Little meatball belongs to everyone. How can she get married? Sob sob sob, little meatball doesn't want to get married. Are you abandoning us? Of course, there were also Lu Qingyun's fans who didn't want Lu Qingyun to marry Shisheng. How can Jiangwan be worthy of sugar daddy? What else does she have other than a few projects? Our sugar daddy is a real rich man. If Jiangwan knows her place, please give up on sugar daddy. Jiangwan isn't worthy of sugar daddy plus 10086. On a whim, I looked up Little Meatball and found out that she has 2 companies under her name. What companies? Please show me the pictures. That person immediately showed 2 pictures. The first picture was of Mantion Entertainment. The legal person's name was Jiangwan. The second picture was of an investment company with only the letter S in the name. The legal person was also Jiangwan. They weren't familiar with the investment company, but they were familiar with Mantion Entertainment. This was the company that Little Meatball was signed to. It was also the company that 4 little elves, King, and a few other familiar faces were signed to. This company was actually owned by Little Meatball? Those who said that she wasn't worthy of sugar daddy, are they slapping their faces now? Does it hurt? Little Meatball started this company by herself. She doesn't have any family backing her. I've never heard of that investment company, but it's also Little Meatball's business. It must be great. Little Meatball's fans all agreed. In their hearts, Little Meatball was the best in everything she did. They were her die-hard fans. Shisheng used that investment company to cover up her large amount of money. However, the company did exist and was doing well. Little meatball, you're actually getting married. Sob sob sob, are you abandoning me? Didn't we agree that we would love each other? Fong Liqiu hugged Shisheng and howled at the top of her lungs. When have we ever loved each other? Shisheng asked calmly. You. Fong Liqiu clutched her heart and was dealt a huge blow. You actually don't admit it. I didn't expect little meatball to be such a little meatball. Shisheng patted Fong Liqiu's head. Be good, go look for your Su Ishiu. Fong Liqiu immediately stopped howling. Her queen-like aura instantly appeared on her body. She pulled the corners of her lips into a sinister smile. If he still dares to appear in front of me, I'll tear Su Ishiu apart. Shisheng. Su Ishiu, what did you do? I don't care. I want to be your bridesmaid. In the blink of an eye, Fong Liqiu began to wail again. I feel that if I were to be your bridesmaid, my status would rise. You can't give such a good opportunity to others. I have such an awesome skill. How come I don't know about this? Fong Liqiu shamelessly decided to be the bridesmaid. Shisheng did not have many friends, so she did not care who the bridesmaid was. Asterisk, this plane is about to be finished. Sob sob sob. Please vote 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 vote. 1,000 votes will add 2 chapters yo. I'm very tempted. It is better to act than to be moved. Chapter 46. Jiang Zhenjin found out about Jiang Wan's marriage from her classmates. She had seen Jiang Wan on TV more than a year ago, but at that time, she was just a supporting character. She had laughed at this, thinking that Jiang Wan was overestimating herself. If she could become popular, she would write her name backwards. But in the past few months, news about her had been endless. She had obviously become popular. Some familiar people would ask Jiang Wan when they saw her, saying that she was lucky to have a celebrity sister. Jiang Zhenjin was jealous. Jiang Wan had really become popular. Now that she was getting married and her partner was said to be rich, how could she not be jealous? Marrying into a rich family was her wish. But before she knew how to marry into a rich family, Jiang Wan, whom she had always looked down on, was actually marrying into a rich family. What made her jealous was that Jiang Wan had a company under her name. If she had money, would she still need to marry into a rich family? Dad, look at Jiang Wan now. She's so popular and even has a company under her name. I asked a friend and found out that her entertainment company is worth at least 200 million. She also has an investment company. How much money does she have? Jiang Yuan looked at his daughter, half believing and half doubting. Is she really that rich? Dad, you don't know, but the entertainment industry is very profitable. Jiang Zhenjin nodded. Just one advertisement is worth a few million. But after what we did back then, would she still acknowledge us? Mother Jiang was a little hesitant. If she had known that Jiang Wan was so capable, why would she have married her to an old man? She would dare. We're her only family. She's lived in our house for so many years. She should be filial to you, shouldn't she? That's right. We've raised her for so many years. Now that she has money, she doesn't want to acknowledge us. Wishful thinking. Jiang Yuan agreed with Jiang Zhenjin. Jiang Zhenjin was already imagining that after she had money, she would buy back all those things that she felt were far away from her. Actually, this wasn't the first time Jiang Zhenjin had urged her parents to look for Jiang Wan. But Jiang Yuan and Mother Jiang were a little awkward about marrying Jiang Wan off. But now that the two companies had been exposed, the desire for money suppressed the awkwardness in Jiang Yuan's heart. Jiang Wan was just a girl. When she got married, wouldn't those things belong to her husband's family? How could the Jiang family's things be given to outsiders? When Mother Jiang heard her husband and daughter say this, she felt more confident. She was greedy to begin with. Now that Jiang Wan was such a big piece of meat, how could she let it go? The family prepared to go to the capital to look for Shisheng. Because they didn't have Shisheng's phone number, it took them a lot of effort to get to Mantian Entertainment Company. However, when they arrived, they were told that Mantian Entertainment was no longer there. Jiang Zhenjin searched the internet for a long time before she found the new address of Mantian Entertainment. By the time he reached the company, the sky was already dark. However, looking at the bright lights of the high-rise building, he didn't feel tired no matter how hard it was. It was said that this building belonged to Mantian Entertainment. How much was it worth? Jiang Jinjin was so excited that her heartbeat sped up. Her blood vessels swelled and her face turned slightly red. She seemed to see countless amounts of money flying towards her. Who are you looking for? When they entered the company, the three were stopped by the security guard. I'm looking for Jiang Yuan. Jiang Yuan couldn't help but puff out his chest, his eyes filled with pride. I'm her uncle. Hurry and ask her to come down. The security guard frowned and said in a businesslike manner, Miss Jiang didn't say that there would be guests. If they were relatives, how could they not have a phone number? Was he working as a security guard for so many years for nothing? She doesn't know that we're here. Brother, we're really Jiang Yuan's relatives. If you don't believe me, you can call and ask. Mother Jiang's tone was much gentler. I'm sorry, Miss Jiang has already left the company. You can go to her house to look for her. If they reported to the higher-ups that anyone was looking for Miss Jiang, they wouldn't be able to work as a security guard anymore. Mother Jiang. If she knew, would she still come to the company? The security guard didn't chase them away. He just stopped them from entering. Anyway, they were doing their job. Even if they were really Miss Jiang's relatives, Miss Jiang wouldn't make things difficult for them. The three of them tried to persuade the security guard, but he didn't listen. In the end, Jiang Yuan was so angry that he started cursing. He even said that when he saw Shi Sheng, he would definitely ask him to scram. When the security guard heard this, he blushed with shame. In the end, the commotion got a little big and alarmed the paparazzi outside. When they heard Jiang Yuan's name, they all gathered around. At first, Jiang Yuan was a little scared. But after thinking about it, if these paparazzi exposed his relationship with Jiang Yuan, would Jiang Yuan still deny it? He had heard a lot of things on the internet from Jiang Jinjin. Jiang Jinjin obviously thought the same. She and Jiang Yuan talked about how they had painstakingly raised Jiang Yuan all these years. When they heard that she was getting married, they especially came to attend her wedding. They said that they were only here to attend the wedding, but in reality, they were belittling Shi Sheng and saying that she was ungrateful. The security guard saw that this matter was going to blow up and quickly called the security captain on duty. The security captain pulled the three of them into the company, and only then did their speech end. The security captain couldn't report this to the higher-ups. If there was any bad news tomorrow, it would be a big deal. Shi Sheng and Lu Qingyan had already arrived but had no choice but to return when they received a call from the CEO. She had guessed that this group of scumbag relatives would come knocking, but she didn't expect them to come so quickly. Where are they? Shi Sheng and Lu Qingyan entered the company one after another. The security guard pointed at the room next to the hall. The captain was afraid that they would cause trouble, so he invited them to the office. Jiang Yuan's family was arguing with the security captain when the door was suddenly pushed open. The noisy office instantly quieted down. Jiang Jinjin saw the man standing behind Shi Sheng, and her eyes widened. She had never seen such a good-looking man. Miss Jiang. The security captain breathed a sigh of relief. This family was too difficult to deal with. How could Miss Jiang have such relatives? They were on a completely different level from Miss Jiang. He didn't believe them when they said that Miss Jiang was educated by them. Xiaowan, look at who you've invited. They don't know the rules at all. Jiang Yuan said righteously. How can such people stay in the company? Hurry up and fire them. The security captain almost couldn't catch his breath. He didn't know the rules? Who was the one making trouble here? Let's talk outside. You don't want outsiders to laugh at you, right? Shi Sheng looked at Jiang Jinjin with a faint smile. You've worked hard today. I'll get the finance department to give you a bonus later. The security captain's face lit up. Thank you, Miss Jiang. It seemed like he didn't do anything wrong today. Xiaowan, why are you giving him a bonus? You didn't see how they treated us. We came all the way here but they didn't call you and even stopped us. They're so insensible. It's fine if they offend us, but what if they offend other people? Mother Jiang also had a look of disapproval. Mr. Jiang, Ms. Wu, you don't have the final say here. Shi Sheng enunciated his words clearly. There was a smile on his face but his eyes seemed to be filled with ice. Jiang Yuan and Mother Jiang both felt a chill run up from the soles of their feet. Their scalps went numb, and they didn't dare to make a sound. Asterisk 1000 recommendation votes. Second update. I can't reply to the comments after the chapters in the client. It's scary, but I can reply to the comments section. Come to the comments section. Chapter 47. After leaving the company, Shisheng didn't say anything. He let the three of them get in the car, and Lu Qingyan drove. Jiang Zhenjin's gaze never left Lu Qingyan. The photos online were a bit blurry. Although she thought he was handsome back then, she didn't take him seriously because of Shisheng. But now that she saw him, she suddenly realized that this man was really beautiful. Jiang Yuan and Mother Jiang sat at the back. The two of them communicated with their eyes that only they understood. In the end, Mother Jiang broke the silence and spoke with the tone of an elder. Xiaowan, you must be having a hard time starting your own business. Why didn't you call home? Your uncle and I could have helped you. No need for Madame Wu to worry. I wouldn't dare to trouble you. Shisheng didn't hide the sarcasm in his voice. Child, why aren't you calling me auntie anymore? You only have us as your family. What trouble? When your parents passed away, weren't we the ones who took care of you? Why are you treating auntie like an outsider? Jiang Yuan was angry and helpless. He looked like he really cared about her. However, the greed in his eyes was completely exposed. Madame Wu, you're wrong. My parents left behind nearly 1,000,000 yuan as compensation. Including their savings and house, it added up to 2,000,000 yuan. Didn't you take all this money? Take it as the cost of taking care of me for the past few years. I won't ask you for it. Mother Jiang choked and couldn't say anything. Back then, if it wasn't for the money, how could she have adopted a burden? Great Jiang Yuan. You've grown up, haven't you? Jiang Yuan immediately supported Mother Jiang. Didn't we spend money to raise you? Now that you have money, you want to fall out with us? Your dad still calls me older brother. You don't even know your place anymore. If your dad was still here, he would be angered to death. Mr. Jiang, we all know how much money you've spent on me. If my dad knew that you treated me like this, he might come looking for you tonight. Who doesn't know how to scare people? Do you think I'm scared? There was only one word that could describe this family: greed. Back then, the original owner's parents had left her a lot of money. It was enough for the original owner to finish college safely. There was even enough for her to start her own business. However, the family used various reasons to coax the original owner into giving them the money. She still wasn't satisfied and wanted to sell the original owner for a good price. Were these people really relatives? F***ck, it must be an enemy. In the novel world, other than white lotuses and green tea bitches, there were also magical creatures like scumbag relatives. Jiang Yuan was so angry that he couldn't speak. Perhaps he was guilty and didn't know how to refute Shisheng. Shisheng sneered. He tilted his head and said to Lu Qingyan, "Let's go to Carlisle Hotel." The smile on Lu Qingyan's face was a little cold. Shisheng even felt a little murderous intent. She silently lit a candle for Jiang Zhenjin. F***ck, you're treating this pervert like a male actor. After settling the three of them into a hotel, Shisheng warned them before they left. If you want to attend my wedding, you'd better stay in the hotel. Of course, she didn't think that the three of them would listen to her, but that wasn't important. The extent to which they were courting death directly affected their ending. After they left the hotel, Shisheng pulled Lu Qingyan with a distressed expression. "Mr. Lu, give me some money to comfort me." Lu Qingyan. The scumbag relatives weren't even his, so why should he give money to comfort them? Reject. Shisheng was very upset at being rejected. "Mr. Lu, are you really going to reject me? Grandfather Lu is still waiting for us. If I tell him that you bullied me, will he beat you to death? And let me inherit the Lu family? That's a pretty good idea. You're thinking too much." Lu Qingyan stuffed Shisheng into the car. Was he that easy to beat to death? Also, that was his biological grandfather. How could he beat him to death? Because Jiang Yuan had said some things outside the company, Shisheng had gotten someone to take care of it. Therefore, the internet was calm. Jiang Yuan's family, who had been waiting for the news to break out online, couldn't sit still anymore. Didn't they say that the paparazzi could create an uproar over a small matter? What he said yesterday should be big news, right? Why was there no news at all? Zhenjin, take a look again. Jiang Yuan urged Jiang Zhenjin in frustration. Jiang Zhenjin searched again, but there was still no news. Instinctively, Jiang Zhenjin clicked into Shisheng's Weibo. The moment she refreshed, a Weibo post appeared. Jiang Yuan v. Sugar Daddy is handsome no matter how I look at him. Picture, picture, picture. The first two pictures were of wedding photos. The first one was of a woman wearing a fiery red wedding gown. She stood barefoot in a sea of stars. The light shone around her, making her look like a demon in the dark. The man opposite her was wearing a black tuxedo that blended into the sea of stars. Yet he was so dazzling that one couldn't take their eyes off him. The two of them looked at each other from afar. It was as though they were separated by an entire galaxy, but they could still see each other. The second picture was of a pure white wedding gown. The woman ran, causing her wedding gown to dance. The man stood in the distance with his arms slightly open, welcoming the woman's arrival with a radiant smile and a gentle gaze. The last picture was of money stacked into a three-dimensional heart. Little Meatball is showing off her husband again. But the wedding photos are so beautiful. It feels like a blockbuster. I'm licking my screen. Crazy husband flaunting demon. Little Meatball, have you considered the feelings of the single dog? I'm looking for the shadow in the heart of the single dog. Hubby is here to watch the single dog at There's a Dog in the Sky. The wedding gown is so beautiful. Most people wouldn't be able to pull off a red wedding gown. But Little Meatball has no problem at all. Ah, Little Meatball, I realize that I'm loving you more and more. What should I do? The person above is so sad. Hubby is here to watch the single dog at basic number. The person above is crazy. The single dog needs to be touched. Little Meatball, sob sob sob. My little Meatball is getting married. I'm so sad. P.S. The wedding gown is so beautiful. It's all because Little Meatball and Sugar Daddy are good looking. Licking my screen. Sugar Daddy is so gentle. I have to admit that the two of them are very compatible. I quit. Little Meatball, I'm handing my Sugar Daddy to you. Sob sob. I'm heartbroken. Why do I feel that the last picture of money is bigger? Is it my imagination? Is it? It's not your imagination. It's indeed bigger. So Little Meatball is just flaunting her wealth and her husband? I don't understand the tricks of rich people. Jiang Zhenjin looked at the waves of well-wishing comments, and the jealousy in her heart had long drowned her. She was just an orphan without parents. What right did she have to have all this? Such a perfect man actually belonged to Jiang Yuan. How could that be? *1,000 recommendation votes. Oh babies, are you sure you're not praising me? Congratulations to Xiao Shengsheng for obtaining the title of Crazy Husband Flaunting Demon. Please vote. Chapter 48. Shisheng had been guarding against Jiang Yuan's family for a long time. Hence, when they approached the media, she was the first to know. She got Hu Shuo to meet them. Hu Shuo agreed without hesitation. Due to the incident with Xia Xian, Hu Shuo's studio had become very famous. His net worth had also risen. He wouldn't normally accept a job from others, but he was very willing to help Shisheng, who had given him the opportunity to soar to the skies. Hu Shuo bribed many paparazzi, and brought a group of people to look for Jiang Yuan. Jiang Yuan saw so many media outlets and felt that he could definitely make Jiang Yuan give in. No matter how powerful she was still a woman. In a traditional country, being unfaithful, unfilial, heartless, and unjust was a big taboo. Jiang Yuan's thinking was really stupid. He didn't think about how the entertainment industry could be as simple as his neighborhood. Jiang Zhenjin felt uneasy and felt that this was wrong. Unfortunately, she couldn't persuade Jiang Yuan. They were waiting for the news the next day, and for Shisheng to apologize to them. But nothing happened. The next day, nothing happened. Well, it wasn't that they didn't discover anything. Shisheng updated their wedding photos and the last picture was still RMB. The next few days were still peaceful. Shisheng fed them dog food regularly, and the last picture was RMB folded into various pictures. The fans were already very calm about Shisheng's behavior of showing off her husband. Of course, There were also people who scolded her, but they were too inconspicuous and were quickly replaced by people who licked the screen. Just as Jiang Yuan couldn't wait any longer, there was finally news online. However, it was completely different from what he had expected. The article described how the family took over the younger brother's family property and mistreated their niece. In the end, when the niece started a company with her own ability, they still wanted a share of the profits. Hu Shua's writing was excellent, and with the reputation of his studio, the netizens naturally believed it. Soon, someone dug out information about Jiang Yuan's family. It was immediately matched with a few obscure points mentioned in the article. In the city where Jiang Yuan lived, there were naturally people who liked Shisheng. There were also many people around Jiang Yuan. They only knew that the Jiang family had a celebrity, but they didn't know that there was such a story behind it. Those who were more familiar with her knew that Jiang Yuan didn't have a good time back then. The clothes she was wearing were all Jiang Zhenjin's leftovers. She hadn't changed into any new clothes all year round. There was almost no need to deliberately dig up. Some of Jiang Yuan's family's bad habits were exposed. Jiang Yuan wanted to use the power of the internet to deal with her, so she would return the favor. The fans on the internet began to denounce Jiang Yuan's family. The hotel they were staying at was posted by Hu Shup using his alternate account. For a time, Jiang Yuan's family was almost blocked in the hotel. Little Meatball has never mistreated you. The Carlisle Hotel's presidential suite costs more than 10,000 yuan per night. How dare you say that Little Meatball is ungrateful? There really are all kinds of birds in the forest. Little Meatball is just a relative of yours. What right do you have to covet Little Meatball's family property? Are you guys shameless? Do you think our Little Meatball has no one? I'm not a meatball fan, but to be fair, Jiang Yuan is indeed magnanimous. If it were me, I would definitely make them spit out every single cent that they stole from me. Jiang Yuan's family couldn't leave at all. They were even blocked and scolded. Great, Jiang Yuan, that ingrate. How dare she do this to I? Jiang Yuan cursed angrily. Dad, what should we do now? Jiang Zhenjin was a little scared. The people outside were too scary. Was this the power of fans? Thinking of this, she actually felt a little envious and jealous. Jiang Yuan was stumped by Jiang Zhenjin's question. In the end, he was just an ordinary citizen. How could he have come into contact with such things? Right now, his mind was blank and he didn't know what to do. Shisheng didn't think that Jiang Zhenjin would dare to look for him. He smiled silently and raised his chin at her. Have a seat. Why are you looking for me? Xiaowan, no matter what, we're sisters. My dad is your uncle. How could you let people talk about us like that? Jiang Zhenjin's eyes were red as she complained tearfully. She didn't want to lower her head to her, but Jiang Yuan said that if she didn't lower her head, how could she get those things? For the company, for money. What did I let people talk about you guys like that? Shisheng blinked innocently. Jiang Zhenjin's face was so red that it could bleed. She didn't know if it was from anger or embarrassment. Her hands by her side clenched tightly. You let people talk about us online. She couldn't finish her sentence. Oh, didn't you guys do it before? You're AB*TCH and you still want a chastity? Do you really think I'm as easy to bully as that silly girl Jiang Yuan? You gave those things to us yourself. Jiang Zhenjin suddenly raised her head and roared loudly. She didn't hide the hatred in her eyes at all. Back then, I was young and didn't know any better. It was your family who coaxed me to hand them over. I didn't know who you were, so I didn't pursue the money. Now you're thinking about my company. Do you think I'm still as stupid as before? In terms of eloquence, Jiang Zhenjin naturally couldn't compare to Shisheng. Moreover, she wasn't in the right. After Jiang Zhenjin left, Jiang Yuan and Mother Jiang took turns to look for her. Everything they said was the same. They were relatives. You're already rich. How can you not help us? Help my ass. On the 9th of September, the wedding was held on a small island overseas. Jiang Yuan's family was quite thick-skinned. Even with so many people scolding them, they still followed them. When they saw the lavishly decorated venue, their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. No one knew what this family was thinking. They actually didn't cause any trouble. Shisheng got people to keep an eye on them and kick them out immediately if they caused any trouble. The wedding was broadcasted live online. This was considered a benefit that Shisheng gave to his fans. That grand wedding allowed the fans to see what a real rich family was like. After the wedding, Shisheng went back to filming, earning money and spending money. However, Jiang Yuan's family seemed to be at odds with Shisheng. They refused to leave the capital. Jiang Zhenjin even entered the entertainment industry. The entertainment industry was a huge dye vat. Without Shisheng doing anything, Jiang Zhenjin was dyed in all sorts of colors. She used some unknown methods to get a few small roles. In the end, she even latched onto Lu Dapeng. Who was Lu Dapeng? He was Lin Shanshan's previous sugar daddy, a member of the Lu family. Lu Dapeng was also unlucky. He saw Jiang Zhenjin at the wedding. Because the family was very obedient, Lu Dapeng didn't know about the relationship between Jiang Zhenjin and Shisheng. When he met Jiang Zhenjin for the second time, the two immediately got together. However, after that, Jiang Zhenjin asked him to deal with Shisheng's Mantian Entertainment. He was so scared that he almost couldn't get an erection. Damn it, he was really unlucky. Why did he always offend the young master? Lu Dapeng was smart. He didn't show it on the surface, but he turned around and reported it to Lu Qingyun. Jiang Zhenjin was now the young mistress of the Lu family. He couldn't afford to offend her. Lu Dapeng received Lu Qingyun's instructions and didn't dare to show any mercy to Jiang Zhenjin. He didn't do anything. He just brought Jiang Zhenjin to various events. He didn't agree to any of Jiang Zhenjin's requests. If Jiang Zhenjin wanted those things, she would have to sell her body. In that circle, Jiang Zhenjin's reputation was extremely bad. Originally, there wasn't this part, but I woke up this morning to make up for it. Please vote. Chapter 49. Jiang Yuan didn't have a good life in Beijing either. He was a gambler to begin with, and had already lost most of Jiang Yuan's assets. He thought that he would become rich after coming to Beijing, but who knew that he would meet with a nose full of dust? In his depression, he started gambling again. His remaining savings were all gone. Mother Jiang was so angry that she almost fought with him. Just as they were arguing, the hotel staff actually told them to pack up and leave. The two of them immediately joined forces, unwilling to leave. They knew that the place they were staying in now cost 10,000 yuan per night. In total, they had stayed here for a month, and had spent 300,000 yuan. The hotel staff didn't care about their complaints and called the security guards to throw them out. Faced with the tough security guards, Jiang Yuan could only leave dejectedly. However, he kept cursing Shisheng. When Shisheng heard the news, she sneered. They weren't staying in such a good place for nothing. Would they still be willing to go back to that small city? The answer was definitely no. Jiang Zhenjin still had some money, so she rented a house for Jiang Yuan and Mother Jiang. Jiang Yuan went to Mantian Entertainment every day to look for Shisheng, but he couldn't find her. Jiang Yuan's gambling addiction grew stronger and stronger. He gambled away all the money Jiang Zhenjin brought back. In the end, he even forced Jiang Zhenjin to sell herself. Mother Jiang and Jiang Yuan started fighting. After being hit by Jiang Yuan a few times, she couldn't take it anymore and ran away. Without Mother Jiang, Jiang Yuan became more and more reckless. In the end, he lost the bet and sold Jiang Zhenjin while he ran away. 2 years later, Shisheng won the Best Actress award, and then announced that she was leaving the entertainment industry. Meatball's fans couldn't accept it. But when they saw that their little Meatball was still showing off her husband, they calmed down. Even if little Meatball was no longer in the entertainment industry, she was still their little Meatball. 5 years later, Shisheng gave Old Master Lu $1 billion USD. Then Old Master Lu gave it to Lu Qingyun, and Lu Qingyun gave it to Shisheng. Shisheng, who had completed her mission in an instant, wanted to divorce Lu Qingyun on the spot. Lu Qingyun was dumbfounded. He didn't understand his wife's actions. Was she buying her freedom with money? It was really stressful to have a rich wife. If it weren't for Old Master Lu stopping them, they might have really agreed with some of the fans. There were many people who married into wealthy families, but there were also many divorces from wealthy families. Although they didn't get a divorce, Shisheng didn't stay with Lu Qingyun anymore, and started to run around the world. Meatball's fans realized that their little Meatball was no longer showing off her husband, and had started to dig a hole for herself. From being a superstar in the entertainment industry, she had become an author. Her fame was actually quite good, and she had attracted a wave of fans for her novels. The only bad thing was that Little Meatball's novels always had miraculous endings with miraculous twists. Otherwise, they would be completely unfinished. But they still liked Little Meatball. Every time Little Meatball opened the pit, they would line up and jump in wave after wave. This is an illness that needs to be treated. Before Old Master Lu passed away, he forced them to swear that they would never divorce. Shisheng thought that there was no one he liked anyway, so he agreed. Lu Qingyun felt that it wasn't a bad idea for Shisheng to be the mistress of the Lu family. Since he couldn't be bothered to find another woman, he agreed to Old Master Lu's request. The two of them lived their own lives. They had nothing to do with each other, yet they were closely related. Shisheng only found out about the feud between Lu Qingyun and Xiemo a long time later. Tang Yin had an older brother, Tang Yu, who had a close relationship with Lu Qingyun. Back then, the parents of the two families had said that the marriage was between him and Tang Yu. But because both of them were boys, the marriage was given to Tang Yin, who was born later. Lu Qingyun had a heart condition. Back then, it was diagnosed that he didn't have long to live. Tang Yin was unwilling to marry someone who was about to die, so she made a fuss about breaking off the marriage. Before Tang Yin could break off the marriage, Tang Yu died in a car accident, and the culprit was Xiemo. Lu Qingyun was targeting Xiemo because he wanted to take revenge for Tang Yu. In the next few years, whenever Xiemo took over the Xi family's business, he would definitely be attacked by Lu Qingyun. Without the halo of the female lead, the huge Xi family was tormented until there wasn't much left. In the end, he was left with a small company to survive. Xiemo wasn't successful either. He married the daughter of a high-ranking official, and his financial lifeline was controlled by that woman. As for Tang Yin, after Tang Yin returned to the Tang family and took control of the family, she got married. Her mother-in-law made things difficult for her, and her husband despised her. She didn't have a good life until she gave birth to a son. But when a few young and beautiful women appeared by her husband's side, her life became difficult again. Xia Man and Tang Yin got together. She was successful in the entertainment industry, and became the queen of the entertainment industry. In this life, Shisheng only lived to the age of 42 and passed away due to illness. Her departure made the fans who had liked her for 20 years very sad. They all started praying for Shisheng. Even if she wasn't in the entertainment industry, her fans weren't any less than any other celebrity. She had a large number of loyal fans from all walks of life. She left behind many legends. Whether it was in the entertainment industry, the web novel industry, or even the business world, there were rumors about her. She was arrogant and conceited. But she had the right to be arrogant and conceited. She was Jiangwan, their beloved little meatball. Shisheng returned to the system space and sat unhappily in front of the book that was half the height of a person. "Host, are you unhappy?" The cold electronic voice faintly fluctuated. Shisheng propped up his chin. The words "I'm unhappy, please coax me" were written all over his face. "Host, do you feel that after living in that world for so long, you've developed feelings for the people there?" Silence. A deathly silence. "Host, can you squeak to prove that you're still breathing?" Shisheng moved his eyes and spat out a string of words. "I haven't opened my new pit yet. I'm not happy. Can you send me back so that I can open my new pit? I've been thinking about it for a long time. It'll be a pity if I don't open it." Hee with the host's personality, how could he be unhappy for someone else? It was really, get up. It decided to ignore the host who was having a fit. The screen showed the data this time. Name, Shisheng morality points. 100000 mission grade. F mission score. 88 mission points. 3500 hidden mission. Completed due to the host's opportunistic nature, the reward is halved. Hidden mission reward. 2000 mission points. Special item time gap. One-time use item, Shisheng. Opportunistic nature. Damn it, isn't the money she earned still money? Also, why did my morality points go back? System, can't you explain it to me? Host, you've opened a total of 28 novels in this world. 22 of them were eunuchs. One of them was negative 100 morality points. Rounding it up, it's negative 2,000 morality points. You've gained 1,000 morality points this time. After offsetting it, it's still negative 1,000 morality points. Does the host have any questions? Shirsheng. Flip's table, you didn't say that I'll lose my morality points if I write Unix. Host, can you check the plot after you leave? Check my ass, I'm not going to check. Shirsheng rudely replied and stared at the negative morality points. He was in a very bad mood. Do you want to enter the next mission? Beginning transmission. Damn it, system, do you have to act on your own every time? I'm going to be angry, okay? Asterisk book review 500 plus more. This world is over. The third story, cultivation, equals carrot carrot smiley face. The female lead is more difficult. Please don't use logic asking for votes. Yeah. P.S. About the female lead's money-making skills, as well as the strange things on her body. These will be written later. It's not a bug in the novel, but the female lead herself is a bug. Thanks again to Cherub for reading the novel. Chapter 50. As soon as Shirsheng opened her eyes, she saw an endless sea of flames. She was standing in the middle of the flames. Her skin was boiling hot, her mouth was dry, and her hair had long since turned to ashes. She didn't know what her clothes were made of. They weren't damaged, but they still couldn't withstand the scorching heat. F***ck, this is such a good time. Are they trying to burn me to death? Shirsheng looked around, trying to find a way out. However, there were only flames here. There was no end in sight, and she couldn't see anything. Waves of scorching heat swept over her. She had only woken up for a short while, but she couldn't take it anymore. She could even hear the sizzling sound of her exposed skin being roasted. Flip's table. What the hell is this place? System, come out. I want to talk to you about life. Marshall Ant, wake up. Marshall Ant, wake up. Suddenly, a voice sounded in the room. Is there someone here? Marshall Ant, this is an illusion. Wake up. Shirsheng was stunned. She frowned. An illusion? Did she enter a fantasy novel? Damn, even if it was a fantasy novel, how could it be an illusion? This didn't make sense. Shirsheng gritted her teeth and closed her eyes to calm herself down. The sound of the flames burning around her gradually faded away. The temperature slowly dropped, and the pain all over her body disappeared. She felt cool. Phew. Shirsheng opened her eyes abruptly. Her chest rose and fell quickly. In her line of sight, there was a rather cute young girl looking at her with a worried expression. Seeing her open her eyes, the girl let out a sigh of relief. Marshall Ant, you scared me to death. The girl's face was full of relief. Shirsheng looked at the girl calmly. She was wearing a white robe. It was similar to the style of this body, but the color was different. This body's robe was dark blue. Personal disciple. These words automatically appeared in her mind. The plot and memories came flooding back. Shirsheng's head swelled and her vision turned dark. She heard the girl calling her anxiously, but her consciousness was getting further and further away from her. This was a novel about leveling up and fighting monsters. The female lead, Yi Qingqiu, was the story of a nascent soul cultivator, who was reborn into the body of a concubine daughter of the Yi clan in the mortal world, who was not favored by the Yi clan. Her meridians and marrow were cleansed, and she once again stepped onto the path of cultivation. When Yi Qingqiu was accepted as a disciple by the Misty sect of the cultivation world, she was tested to have a single water spirit root. The water spirit root was almost universally recognized as a human furnace in the cultivation world. But would the female lead become a human furnace? The answer was definitely impossible. The female lead was accepted as a direct disciple by the Misty sect's sect master. This sect master was also the first male supporting character. With the first male supporting character's protection, the female lead was able to play very well in the Misty sect. Concocting pills, refining tools, formations and talismans, there was nothing the female lead didn't know. At a time like this, how could they let the female lead stand out by herself? The cannon fodder female supporting characters naturally went into action, and the original host was one of them. The host was called Shang Shu, the direct disciple of Heaven's Edge Peak's Peak Lord, Yu Xiao. Shang Shu liked her senior brother Chu Yi, but Chu Yi liked Yi Qingqiu. Shang Shu naturally started to provoke him. This was the responsibility of a female supporting character. During the annual examination, Shang Shu originally wanted to teach the female lead a lesson, but she was the one who was taught a lesson instead. Her cultivation dropped to the 8th layer of qi refining. In the cultivation world, the qi refining stage was divided into 10 layers. After that was foundation establishment, golden core, nascent soul, soul formation, great ascension, and tribulation passing. Shang Shu was about to reach foundation establishment, but she dropped 2 layers in an instant. This made the original host very uncomfortable, and made her hate the female lead even more. Fortunately, Shang Shu's master was really considerate of Shang Shu. He asked the sect master for a pill to help Shang Shu recover her strength. After that, Shang Shu began to focus on cultivation. She wanted to surpass the female lead and attract Chu Ye's attention. During the 50-year exchange between the major sects, when Shang Shu fought with the female lead, she used some underhanded methods. Later on, the female lead was almost humiliated. The person who was caught actually said that it was Shang Shu who ordered it. But Shang Shu knew that she didn't do it. In a fit of anger, the sect master wanted to cripple Shang Shu's cultivation. Shang Shu tried to defend herself, but no one believed her. Only her master Yu Xiao stood up for her. Yu Xiao stopped the furious sect master, and bore the brunt of his anger. Although it wasn't enough to cripple Shang Shu's cultivation, Shang Shu still received a severe punishment. Chu Yi hated the original host even more. As an evil female supporting character, she naturally wouldn't give up just like that. During one of her training sessions, Shang Shu once again courted death. But she didn't expect to break the demon seal. Yu Xiao was corroded by the demon qi in order to save Shang Shu, and the female lead pushed Shang Shu into the demon qi in order to save Chu Yi. Yu Xiao used the last of his strength to send Shang Shu out again. Unfortunately, Shang Shu's luck was bad. She fell into the demon realm, and was corroded by the demon qi. Her appearance was ruined and her cultivation was crippled. She thought she would die, but she didn't. After enduring that period, she discovered that her cultivation was slowly recovering. She worked hard to cultivate and finally escaped when the demon seal was broken. She wanted to take revenge on the female lead. She colluded with a very ambitious man from the demon race. The two of them plotted to lure the female lead into a secret realm. The man wanted to rape the female lead, but he was killed by the male lead who arrived later. Although Shang Shu ran away, she was quickly found by the male lead. Shang Shu died miserably. She was tortured to death by the male lead's 1,000 cuts. That kind of pain was not something an ordinary person could imagine. Shang Shu hated Yi Qingqiu. But more than that, she regretted it. Her last wish was not to let Yu Xiao die. If possible, she wanted to stay by Yu Xiao's side forever. She wanted revenge. Junior sister hasn't woken up yet? Master, she hasn't. Master said. Martial Ant's cultivation has regressed. Martial Ant was clearly about to reach foundation establishment. If Martial Ant had reached foundation establishment this year, then she would have been the youngest foundation establishment disciple in the Misty sect. Now that everything has been ruined, Martial Ant would definitely be very sad if she knew. AI. As soon as Shisheng regained consciousness, she heard a long sigh. Martial Ant, you're awake. A girl's surprised voice exploded in Shisheng's ears. Master, hurry and call for Master. Shisheng's temples throbbed. The swelling pain was unbearable. It took a while for it to calm down. Standing by her bed was the girl she saw before. Lin Yi, a disciple of Heaven's Edge Peak. She had a good relationship with the original owner. How long have I been asleep? Shisheng licked her dry lips. Her voice was very hoarse. Her throat felt like it was on fire. Even swallowing was difficult. It's been 3 days. Martial Ant, drink some water. Master will be here soon. Lin Yi turned around and poured a cup of water. She carefully fed Shisheng. The cool water moistened her throat. Only then did Shisheng feel better. She looked at the simple decorations around her, and lowered her eyes. The obscure light was blocked by her eyelids. This was the scene where the original owner's cultivation regressed. Asterisk lalalala, a new week has begun, please vote, don't the cherub people vote. Chapter 51. Yu Xiao arrived very quickly. His expression was cold, but there was a hint of worry in his eyes. He walked past Lin Yi and sat down beside Shisheng. "Xiaoshu, you're awake. Tell me if you feel uncomfortable." His voice was very pleasant to the ears, but his tone was stiff and indifferent. It was as if he didn't know what tone to use to talk to her. Yu Xiao looked very young. His face was handsome and his eyes were like a painting. He exuded a cold aura that kept people away. He was a master of abstinence. Is Shangshu stupid? Damn, her master is so handsome, but she didn't want him and went to torment that Chu Yi. She's really picking a turtle among pearls. Shisheng looked away and shook his head. I'm not uncomfortable. That's good. Yu Xiao was still expressionless. You've learned your lesson this time. Don't provoke Yi Qingqiu in the future. As a supporting female lead, how could she not provoke the female lead? Disciple will remember. Even if she wanted to cause trouble for the female lead, she definitely couldn't tell Yu Xiao. Yu Xiao's eyes flashed with surprise when his rebellious disciple suddenly became so obedient. However, he only thought that she had learned her lesson and didn't think too much about it. Master, are we just going to let this go? Lin Yi said indignantly. I saw Yi Qingqiu do it with my own eyes. The man standing beside Lin Yi stopped her from continuing. Master, why didn't he let her say it? It was clearly Yi Qingqiu who made martial uncle end up like this. The man was Shangshu's senior brother Bai Lang. As the peak lord of Heaven's Edge Peak, Yu Xiao could take in 2 personal disciples. Before he met Shangshu, he only took in Bai Lang as his personal disciple. He only took in Shangshu after he picked her up. Yes, Shangshu was picked up by Yu Xiao. Lin Yi was Bai Lang's disciple, and was a generation younger than her. Don't disturb Xiaoshu's rest. You can all leave. Yu Xiao waved his hand indifferently. Remember not to talk about the test outside. Yes, master. Lin Yi looked at her master with a hint of resentment, before turning back to Shisheng. Martial uncle, rest well. After Lin Yi and her disciple left, Yu Xiao, with his expressionless face, said a few words of Shisheng symbolically before leaving. Shisheng exhaled heavily. In the previous 2 planes, the original owner of the body was a supporting female character, who was used as cannon fodder. But in this plane, she was already a supporting female character who had dug her own grave. So it would only get harder and harder to reach the later planes? The main character of this world was obviously the female lead. Yi Qingqiu was an almighty nascent soul cultivator in her past life who was betrayed and died, so it was very hard for her to trust people. But as the author wrote, the female lead became someone who was willing to kill innocent people for her own goals. It wasn't obvious in the early stages, but when the original owner died, there was already a trend. Later on, when the female lead left the cultivation world and ascended to the immortal world, her worldview was almost destroyed. Compared to White Lotus and Green Tea Bitch, this kind of vicious and merciless female lead was much harder to deal with. The original owner's last wish was to accompany Yu Xiao for a lifetime. Motherf ***. This is cultivation. Long. If he accidentally ascended, wouldn't she have to work hard to ascend as well? Just the thought of it was terrifying. Just like the plot, Yu Xiao brought a pill to help Shisheng recover. Shisheng didn't want to eat it at first, but then he thought about it. The female lead's golden finger was thick and long. If she didn't recover her strength, it would be awkward if she couldn't win in a fight. So Shisheng could only eat the pill and go into seclusion to recover. This seclusion lasted for a year. Not only did it help Shisheng recover his cultivation, but he also successfully built his foundation. The original owner had a mutated ice spirit root. Shisheng flipped his hand and threw out an icicle. Who knew that the door would suddenly open and the icicle would fly out? Ah! Lin Yi's scream came from outside the door. Shisheng. Lin Yi was at the 7th level of qi refining, right? And she had a fire spirit root. What the hell was she screaming for? A strange noise came from outside. Then Shisheng saw Lin Yi come in with a sullen face. There were water stains on her body and she looked a little battered. Martial uncle. Why did he stab her with icicles the moment he came in? Cough cough. I was just trying to see if it worked. Lin Yi blinked and then asked in surprise. Martial uncle, You've built your foundation? That's great. I knew Martial Uncle was the best. Hey, why are you answering your own question? And you're only at the 7th level of Qi refining. How could you tell that I've built my foundation? After Lin Yi's excitement subsided, Shisheng realized that she was just guessing. No one else could get excited by guessing. Oh right, Master said that you'll come out of seclusion today and asked you to go find him. Lin Yi remembered that she was here to pass on a message. Ever since she came here, she had only seen Yu Xiao twice. The first time was when she woke up. The second time was when Yu Xiao gave her the pill. After that, she went into seclusion. This was the third time she saw Yu Xiao. Yu Xiao still looked like an ascetic male god. His eyes were cold, as if the worry she saw in his eyes was just an illusion. Xiaoshu, you've built your foundation? Yu Xiao could tell Shisheng's cultivation level at a glance. In the original owner's memories, this master had always been cold. He wasn't strict with her, but he didn't spoil her either. So the original owner was a bit afraid of this master. I accidentally broke through. It really was an accident. She had cultivated according to Shangshu's memories. Perhaps it was because this fellow's talent was better, but she had built her foundation very smoothly. It seems the things I prepared won't be of any use. Yu Xiao nodded slightly and put away the things on the table. In a few days, the sect will be going to the mortal world to recruit new disciples. Your senior brother will be leading the team. If you want to go, just tell Bai Lang. Shisheng looked at Yu Xiao's actions and couldn't help but ridicule him in his heart. This expressionless master is a master with a fiery heart. Disciple understands. Yi Qingqiu will be going to the mortal world, right? She'll also meet the male lead there. That's right, the male and female leads had met long ago. It was just that the male lead had only appeared for less than a chapter. Moreover, he had appeared in a very sorry state. If she hadn't watched the entire drama, she wouldn't have thought that person was the male lead. TSK, if I don't go, I'll be letting down this evil female supporting character. No matter what, I have to do some damage. Yu Xiao looked at Shisheng suspiciously. Why do I feel like my disciple looked a bit sinister just now? But when he looked carefully, that feeling was gone. Is it because I'm too tired from refining pills in seclusion? You can leave. Shisheng left Yu Xiao's room and looked back at Yu Xiao's cave. Yu Xiao was able to do that for Shangshu in the end, but from what she saw in the plot, Yu Xiao had never revealed any romantic feelings for Shangshu. So either Yu Xiao hid it too well, or he really did treat Shangshu as his daughter. Shangshu only said that she would accompany Yu Xiao for a lifetime, but she didn't say in what capacity. There was quite a lot of room for manipulation. #host. If you continue like this, I'm going to release Lord Villain # please vote. Chapter 52. In the cultivation world, disciples with spirit roots were either from cultivation families or from large sections. If they wanted more disciples, they could only go to the mortal world. Every 3 years, the Misty sect would send disciples to the mortal world to look for disciples with spirit roots. Every year, a large group of people would go, but out of 10 people, only 1 would return. From this, it could be seen that there were very few people in the mortal world who could cultivate with spirit roots. Since there were so few of them, why did these sects not get tired of running to the mortal world? That was because many of the almighty cultivators who became famous in the cultivation world, and even ascended to immortality, came from the mortal world. No one knew why the mortal world, which lacked spirit energy, became a cradle for geniuses. So even if they couldn't get anything, the large sects were still willing to run to the mortal world. Not only could they let their disciples gain experience, they might even be able to pick up the next almighty cultivator. As a veteran reader who had read countless pornographic novels, cultivation novels, Shisheng only wanted to say, this was all a ploy. The protagonist's life must be miserable. His parents must die. His entire family must die. He must be framed by his clansmen. He must fall off a cliff, meet an old grandpa, obtain a strange inheritance, and then embark on the path of cultivation. He must fight monsters to level up and feel good about slapping faces. So the mortal world produced geniuses. It was all for the sake of slapping faces. I came from the mortal world, but I can also defeat you people who boast about being born a cut above others and have a sense of superiority. Isn't it awesome? Isn't it cool? Shisheng immediately saw Yi Qingqiu in the crowd. Damn, it's hard not to see her when she's standing so high up. She stood behind the sect master, looking like an aloof goddess. Her disdainful attitude made it seem like the people standing below her were all ants. Shisheng. Why did this treasure decipher such a strange message? Yi Qingqiu seemed to sense Shisheng's gaze and glanced in his direction. Her disdainful gaze almost made Shisheng jump up. F***CK, there's something wrong with this female lead. At this time, the female lead shouldn't have collapsed yet. Martial Uncle Shisheng. A clear female voice suddenly rang out, interrupting Shisheng's observation of Yi Qingqiu. Shisheng turned to look at the girl for a few seconds. Chu Ning? There was a man standing next to Chu Ning. He was also wearing a dark blue Taoist robe. He looked very bright and looked at her with disgust. Was this Chu Yi? He was Chu Ning's brother. The man that the original owner used to like. TSK. Compared to the jade flute, the difference was like heaven and earth. Shang Shu was indeed a fool. Martial Uncle, are you going as well? Chu Ning's eyes were filled with hostility and wariness. Yes. Shisheng nodded casually and looked at Bai Lang. Senior brother is calling me. I'll go over first. She didn't want to have anything to do with these two people. Chu Yi was still alright. Because he liked Yi Qingqiu, even though he didn't manage to become a supporting male lead, he still managed to become a lackey. Chu Ning, on the other hand, was in trouble. She had a brother complex, and because Chu Yi liked Yi Qingqiu, she often caused trouble for Yi Qingqiu. She even logged off before the evil supporting female lead. Chu Yi looked at Shisheng's back and furrowed his brows. This woman. What is she trying to do? When did she not want to pounce on me? Why is it that after a year, she looks at me like I'm a stranger? To go from the cultivation world to the mortal world, one had to cross a long sea, so flying magic tools were required. Spirit tools were commonly seen in the cultivation world. Magic tools were public property of the sect, and had to be returned after they were used. So when Yi Qingqiu took out a private flying magic tool, many people's eyes turned red with jealousy. She even has a flying magic tool. Why aren't we lucky enough to be accepted as direct disciples by the sect master? Haha, do you think you can have one just because you're accepted as a direct disciple by the sect master? You're thinking too much. This is the female lead zone. Yi Qingqiu only brought a few people who were related to her. The others had to squeeze in with the sect's public flying magic tools. After Shisheng finished watching Yi Qingqiu show off, he and Bai Lang boarded a boat-shaped flying magic tool. The space was quite big. Plus, it was reserved for disciples who might come back. It was very spacious. They could even lie down and roll around a few times. With so many people, they would definitely go to different places. The flying magic tools were divided into 4 directions. Along the way, they would drop people off at various places. When it was time to go back, they would send a signal to the place where they were dropped off. Because Bai Lang was in the lead, his final stop was the last stop. Shisheng, however, got off midway. Bai Lang was a bit worried. Master had told him to look after his junior sister. Shisheng repeatedly promised that he wouldn't do anything rash. Only then did Bai Lang let 2 disciples go with her. Shisheng got off and left the 2 disciples behind. Then he headed towards the Forest of Death. This name. I don't want to complain at all. It's 2F** King Perfunctory. The male lead's first appearance was here. As for why the female lead, who was thousands of miles away, would appear here, he could only sigh at how powerful the plot was. Even if one was at the North Pole and the other at the South Pole, they would still meet. It was all because of love. Red tree. Shisheng muttered as he walked. Is this tree on its period? And it's completely red. Roar! A strange-looking creature suddenly jumped out of the dense bushes. Its huge body landed on the ground, causing the ground to tremble. Shisheng stood in front of it, feeling as if he was standing in front of an elephant. It wasn't wrong to say that it looked strange. Have you ever seen a tiger with scales? Have you ever seen a tiger with horns on its head? Is this a F** king tiger? I don't know what the hell this is. The cultivation world is really scary. The cultivation world created by the author is even scarier. Roar. Roar. The tiger's eyes were red. It looked as if it was going to eat Shisheng. Roar your head. Villains die because they talk too much. Shisheng raised his hand and shot out a bunch of icicles. They were polygonal in shape and looked a bit like shuttles. However, they were longer than shuttles. Recently, she was the best at using this skill. It was just that the attack range was a bit large. After she practiced it a few times, she could control some of the icicles. However, she could only control a few of them. But it was enough. The tiger was only thinking about dodging the icicles. It didn't notice that 3 icicles were shooting back at it. Puff! Puff! There were 2 sounds of something hard piercing its body. The tiger's bell-like eyes widened. How could this weak human hurt it? The tiger's lower abdomen was pierced by the icicles. Red blood flowed down the icicles like a small stream. Its huge body fell to the ground. It opened its eyes and panted heavily as it looked at the human standing in front of it. Although its body was covered with scales, its lower abdomen was not. The icicles pierced through it easily. What a pity. Shisheng shook his head in disappointment. I only hit 2 of them. It seems that I still have to practice. The tiger. It was unfortunate that it met a monster. 20 years later, I will be a good tiger again. I will come back for revenge. Asterisk please vote, please reward 700 recommendation votes and updates. PS. This article will be published and will be paid for. I've said it many times. So when it's published, cherub, please control your anger and don't curse. The author is not a god. She still needs to eat. As for when it will be published, it depends on the editor. I don't know the exact time. Chapter 53. There were quite a few spirit beasts in the Forest of Death. Their levels weren't high, so Shisheng only treated them as practice. However, those spirit beasts all died miserably. After walking in, Shisheng finally found the red tree. It really was red. From top to bottom, inside and out, everything was red. It was so dazzling. How did she know it was red inside? Oh, she chopped the tree down. This tree should be a special item. But even after Shisheng cut it into pieces, there was nothing out of the ordinary. Is it because I'm not the female lead? I don't have an accident body. Even the props were so complicated now. Scary. Tree. F***ck. At least give me a chance to show off. You chopped me down right away. And I didn't even have time to react. After chopping down the tree, Shisheng sat down on the trunk of the tree and looked up at the sky. Wait for the male lead. She only knew that the female lead met the male lead under this tree. But as for how the male lead appeared here, only the author knew. Shisheng waited until she was about to turn into a rock, but there was still no sign of the male lead. Could it be that there was more than one red tree in the Forest of Death? Should she go out for a walk? Shisheng went out to take a look. She didn't see any other red trees, though she did encounter a few barely normal spirit beasts. By the time she finished dealing with those spirit beasts and returned to where she had been, she saw a person collapsed next to the tree's corpse. F***ck, F***ck, so you need me to leave. Shisheng took out the long sword that Yu Xiao gave her before she left. She walked up to the person in a few steps and stabbed him in the back. Pooh. Stop. These 2 voices rang out at the same time. The first was the sound of a sword stabbing into a body, while the second was a woman's cold rebuke. Shisheng maintained her stabbing posture and turned to look at the source of the sound. She raised her eyebrows. Oh, isn't this junior martial sister Yi? Yi Qingqiu was dressed in a purple Taoist robe that was covered in dirt. Her hair was a mess, but her face was clean and beautiful. Her eyes were filled with a sharp and arrogant coldness. What are you doing? Yi Qingqiu asked coldly. Murder. Are you blind? Shisheng spoke as if it was a matter of course and righteous. What was going on with this Shangshu? She was completely different from a year ago. Could it be that she had also been reincarnated? Yi Qingqiu narrowed her eyes. He has no enmity with you. If you kill him for no reason, you will be tainted by karma. I don't like him, so I have a reason to kill him. Shisheng pulled out his sword in front of Yi Qingqiu and stabbed down. His movements were fluid and smooth. This fellow was the murderer of the assassin Shang Shu in her previous life. How could she kill him for no reason? This was karma. He was the cause and she was the effect. Yi Qingqiu hadn't expected Shisheng to do this. She could only watch as a bloody hole appeared on the back of the man whose face she couldn't see clearly. She didn't know why, but when she saw this man, she had a strong intuition that she had to save him. Seeing that Shisheng was about to make a move, Yi Qingqiu made her move. A wall of water appeared out of thin air and aggressively pushed towards Shisheng. Shisheng quickly grabbed the man on the ground and used him as a shield. The wall of water couldn't be stopped in time and passed through the two of them. Shisheng felt as if there were countless small whirlpools in the water that wanted to crush him. He immediately covered himself in a layer of ice. The water washed over the ice, making cracking sounds. As expected of the female lead, she could even use a water spirit root to such an extent. The system actually didn't give him a cheat in such a dangerous world. What a bad review. While Shisheng was cursing the system in his heart, the layer of ice had already been washed away by the water. Shisheng's expression darkened. He raised the sword in his hand and cut a hole in the wall of water. He let go of the man and nimbly passed through the hole, landing somewhere safe. On the other hand, the man's body was covered in blood, and the entire wall of water had turned dark red. The wall of water disappeared, and the man fell to the ground. His body was soaked in dark red blood, and he looked like a bloody person. Perhaps the pain woke him up. But the man lay on the ground and looked at Yi Qingqiu weakly and miserably. He's not dead yet, Shisheng muttered and made a move to stab him again. Yi Qingqiu immediately sent out a stream of water to wrap around the man and pull him in front of her. Junior Sister Yi, isn't this a little too unkind? Even if you want to kill him, there should be a first come first serve rule, right? No matter what, I have to go first. A hint of viciousness flashed through Shisheng's eyes. Why is the male lead so hard to kill? I've already stabbed him twice. If I knew this would happen, I would have just chopped off his head. Yi Qingqiu. When did I say I wanted to kill him? Male lead. Did I meet some kind of evil cultivator? Alright then. Since Junior Sister Yi wants him, I'll let you have him. But Junior Sister Yi, your habit of killing people after they've recovered isn't good. It's very easy to get bitten, so you have to be careful. Shisheng kindly reminded Yi Qingqiu. Shang Shu, what nonsense are you spouting? Since when did I have this kind of habit? So fierce. I'm so scared. Shisheng patted his chest and retreated. Although his words were colorful, his face was calm and his eyes were terrifyingly calm. That appearance made Yi Qingqiu even more cautious. She was certain that she had been taken over and reborn. If she could do it, then others could too should she kill her. No, she didn't know what kind of trump card this woman had. She couldn't act rashly. Yi Qingqiu's thoughts spun, and she ran with the man in tow. She would deal with this woman when she returned to the Misty Sect. Shisheng didn't chase after her. She believed that the male lead must have heard what she said just now. The male lead wasn't a kind person. He didn't have the kind of care the female lead had in the beginning, and he even heard those words. On top of that, he was injured by the female lead. Thinking about that scene, she was looking forward to it. Shisheng felt that Lord Plotline wouldn't be happy if he didn't kill the supporting female lead. 3 days after separating from the female lead, they actually ran into each other again. Although the Earth was round, could you finish walking around it in 3 days? And was this even Earth? Yi Qingqiu was speechless. Why did she run into her again? What's chasing after you? Shisheng took the time to ask Yi Qingqiu. That's right. They were running for their lives. There was something big chasing after them. How big? How would this baby know? Look at the fallen forest behind them, and imagine how big that thing is. Dragon. Yi Qingqiu's answer was concise. What the hell? Dragon? It was reasonable for something like that to appear in the cultivation world. But how could there be such a big creature like a dragon in the mortal world? Alright, even if there was, why was it chasing after you? Female lead. What kind of crazy thing did you do? Don't drag this baby down with you. Asterisk 700 recommendation votes, 1100 recommendation votes for the next update. Cherub fans who want to add more chapters, vote hard. PS. The tiger in the previous chapter was just cannon fodder. Why do you think it's so pitiful? Chapter 54. After running for a while, Shisheng realized that something was wrong. When she saw Yi Qingqiu carrying the male lead and rushing towards her, she didn't know what was wrong with her, but she immediately ran. Why am I running? It's not like they're after me. My IQ has dropped after meeting the female lead. Just as Shisheng was about to turn and run, the huge creature chasing them rushed forward and blocked their path. Hissed Shisheng. What happened to the dragon? Why did it turn into a snake? This was a python that was more than 50 feet long, and its waist was at least as thick as 3 people. It raised its head and stared at them covetously. Its tail swept left and right, and the trees around them suddenly fell down with a crackling sound. Yi Qingqiu was puzzled. She clearly saw a dragon, so how did it turn into a snake? Could it be? My luck can't be that good, right? Rumble. As if to prove Yi Qingqiu's guess, the white and blue sky suddenly turned dark. From the dark clouds, there seemed to be an army charging towards them. A deafening sound echoed through the sky. F***ck. Shisheng cursed and turned to run. Damn, this snake is about to undergo tribulation. How can a mere foundation establishment trash like me withstand the lightning tribulation? I have to run. As soon as Shisheng ran, Yi Qingqiu ran with her. She was carrying the unconscious male lead, but her speed wasn't any slower than Shisheng's. Most importantly, that huge snake that's about to undergo tribulation is right behind us. In the original plot, although the original owner participated in this mission, she didn't stop midway. Naturally, she wouldn't have encountered this situation. But in the original plot, the female lead only saved the male lead here. She didn't experience being chased by a snake. I only chopped the male lead twice, but the plot has already collapsed beyond recognition. Shisheng carefully observed the huge snake behind them. She realized that it was staring at Yi Qingqiu. Even if she was a step slower, the snake wouldn't attack her. Instead, it would stare at Yi Qingqiu. Did I take something from the snake? Based on the female lead's character, that might be the case. Hidden quest, Sovereign's Descent. I've been waiting for you for a long time. At this moment of life and death, you actually issued a quest. Do you still have any humanity? Host, this system is not alive. Naturally, it has no human nature. The system answered Shisheng's question seriously. So, what's with the Sovereign's Descent? Let Feng Xiai ascend to the throne of the immortal emperor. Feng Xiai? Damn. Another King villain. Are all the hidden quests you give out related to the villains? And they were all the ultimate villains? During the mission, the host is not allowed to take advantage of the situation or change the concept of the mission. I hope that the host will not seek death and take the mission seriously. Friendly reminder. If the host directly causes the death of the male and female leads, all missions will be considered as a failure. The corresponding amount of the host's HP will be deducted. When the HP reaches 0, the host will be erased. Shisheng. This rule. Why did it seem like it was made at the last minute? If I can't do it directly, I can do it indirectly. No. What's with the HP? Why wasn't it here before? System, don't randomly add strange settings. Friendly reminder. Host only has 10 HP left. If we fail this mission, our HP will be reduced to 0. Shisheng. System, you're so reckless. Are you going to manufacture it? Who is it doing this for? Isn't it all because of you? Shisheng quickly cursed the system's entire family in his heart. The hidden missions issued by the system had a pattern. The ultimate boss, and that person was near her. In other words, Feng Xiai was here? More and more dark clouds appeared in the sky, almost covering the entire forest of death. The spirit beasts in the forest of death all hid in safe places, so the entire forest was terrifyingly quiet. It was in such a quiet forest. A man in a moon-white gauze robe was walking slowly. Everywhere he passed, bright yellow flames would wreak havoc. With every step he took, flames would appear, but those flames were unable to burn the plants around him. It was an extremely strange sight. The flame that stepped out was at least 10 meters long. Beyond that, the flames would slowly extinguish and disappear. The man slightly raised his head. The dark clouds in the sky were reflected in his dark red pupils. His facial features were not particularly good-looking, but when put together, they had a soul-stirring beauty. He was like a white lotus blooming in karmic fire, pure and untainted. He had a sacred feeling that could only be seen from afar, and could not be profaned. Bang! The man slightly tilted his head. What he saw was a petite figure madly running towards him. Behind her was a shadow serpent. So it was the shadow serpent. The man took a few steps to the side and opened up a path for it. Seeing the burning flames, Shisheng knew that this was Feng Xi. Without even thinking, he directly rushed towards him and shouted, "Handsome, lend me your fire." Feng Xi's expression did not change. He calmly watched Shisheng rush over, and then stood in the flames beside him. The shadow serpent sensed that the flames were not something it could withstand, so it quickly braked. However, its tail swept towards Shisheng and Feng Xi due to inertia. Feng Xi gently raised his hand. A flame without heat shot out from his hand, and easily deflected the shadow serpent's tail. Shisheng. Oh my, as expected of a villain. With this strength, it would be no problem for him to instantly kill the female lead. Yi Qingqiu also came from the other side. When she saw Feng Xi, she was clearly stunned. Then, she calmly looked away. As expected, the female lead doesn't have any feelings for villains. The shadow serpent let out 2 indignant growls. However, it was afraid of Feng Xi's flames and did not dare to approach. Yi Qingqiu, who came from behind, was in a miserable state. She instantly became the shadow serpent's target. You don't feel anything from these flames? Feng Xi ignored the fight between Yi Qingqiu and the shadow serpent. Instead, he focused on Shisheng. His eyes were dark red. Under the illumination of the flames, not only did they not appear dark, they were actually very bright and clear. They were like rubies in a display case, overflowing with light and vibrant colors, dazzling the eyes. Shisheng lowered his head and looked at his feet. The flames quietly burned around her, but she could not feel any heat. However, she did not like it. After all, she had an ice spirit root. Fire and water were incompatible. Feng Xi reached out and carefully touched Shisheng's cheek. When he touched Shisheng, the flame suddenly sprang up and blocked Shisheng's vision. However, she still could not feel any heat from the flames. Even though the flames were so close to her, she was not hurt at all. A trace of a smile flashed through Feng Xi's eyes. "You're very special. Follow me from now on." Shisheng. What? BBB. Haven't even said anything yet? But wouldn't hiding anything conflict with the host's final wish? If she followed Feng Xi, what would happen to Yu Xiao? That stupid system said that as long as she failed a mission, she would be finished. Wait a minute. In the host's final wish, she seemed to have said that it was possible to accompany Yu Xiao. In other words, as long as she didn't let Yu Xiao die, she would complete the mission. Asterisk requesting votes, la la la. Chapter 55. Shisheng recalled the plot, and jumped out of the fire's range. CK, I forgot about that. Feng Xi's eyelashes trembled as he watched her move. It was unknown what he was thinking, but his focused expression made it seem like he was looking at an extremely precious treasure. Feng Xi, the biggest villain in the novel, the ultimate obstacle that prevented the female lead from reaching the peak. He was born from the union of a phoenix and a dragon, but his body burned with a raging fire the moment he was born. The fire had no temperature, but it could burn anything alive to ashes. No one dared to approach him, not even his own parents. If they weren't careful, they would be burned by the fire. The phoenixes and dragons didn't get along, and Feng Xi was like this. His father felt that he was ominous and regretted being together with his mother. His mother abandoned Feng Xi for his father. Feng Xi. How ironic. The first time he appeared was in the celestial realm. The female lead had just ascended, and the male lead went to welcome her. Feng Xi just happened to come up from the lower realm, and the surrounding people all retreated. In the end, only the male and female lead remained standing. The female lead didn't know Feng Xi, but the male lead didn't get along with Feng Xi. The male lead was the young master of the dragon race, so he naturally didn't like Feng Xi, who was born from the union of a dragon and a phoenix. However, because of Feng Xi's uniqueness, he normally wouldn't provoke Feng Xi. But at that time, the female lead was present, so the male lead naturally couldn't back down and blocked Feng Xi's path. Feng Xi very arrogantly set fire to the ascension platform, and the fire burned for 3 whole days. At that time, the female lead revealed an expression of surprise and alertness, but the author didn't explain why. Now it seemed that they had met here before? Shishing patted her up and down to make sure she was fine. If that fire burns, IBBB will die. Why was I so stupid as to go in just now? I must have been chased by that thing until my IQ went offline. But why am I fine? I stood there for so long just now. Even if there was a buffer, it should have been too long, right? Or am I BBB thick-skinned? Because the target is too special, the system gave you the bug to ignore Feng Xi's fire. So there really is a cheat. Then why didn't you give it to me before? Where's my newbie gift bag? Host, your focus is wrong. Also, how long are you going to remember the joke about the newbie gift pack? Senior Sister Shang. Yi Qingqiu charged towards her with the snake-legged behind her. F*CK. 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 Female lead Darren. What are you trying to do? Yi Qingqiu led the snake to the Shisheng and reached out to push the Shisheng. Shisheng quickly grabbed Yi Qingqiu's wrist. Junior Sister Yi, what are you trying to do? Seeing that the shadow snake was about to reach them, Yi Qingqiu's expression hardened. I'll have to trouble Senior Sister Shang to help me block it. Senior Sister Shang, you won't leave me in the lurch, right? Yes. Shisheng nodded decisively. He threw Yi Qingqiu aside and jumped back into Feng Xi's flames. The female lead was indeed vicious and merciless. You want my life right from the start. The winged snake hesitated as it approached Feng Xi. It glared fiercely at Yi Qingqiu. It was all because of this human who dared to steal its things. It had treasured the immortal ascension grass for so many years in order to use it during its tribulation. Who would have thought that it would be snatched away by this human? But that human who could emit flames wasn't someone it could afford to offend. Handsome, do you want to kill her? Shisheng didn't lower his voice at all. She lured this snake here. It's obvious that she doesn't have good intentions. Feng Xi blinked his bright eyes, looking a little dazed. If you like it, I'll kill her. Shisheng. Hey, why are you flirting with me? Am I someone you can flirt with? No matter what, you have to. I like it. Kill her. Kill her and I'll follow you. I'll flirt with you. Yi Qingqiu. Is it really okay for you guys to say this in front of me? Hashtag the host is encouraging the villain to do bad things again. Hashtag Feng Xi lightly raised his wrist, and countless fist-sized fireballs appeared in front of him. They quietly floated in the air, without a trace of heat or aura. But for some reason, they made people feel fearful. The shadow snake had long sensed that something was wrong and slipped away to face its tribulation. It would come back for revenge once it succeeded. Of course, it had to pass the tribulation first. So only Yi Qingqiu and the male lead, Long Ju, were left here. Shang Shu, you want to kill your fellow sect member? Yi Qingqiu could sense that something was wrong with the flames and hurriedly asked. I'm not the one who did it. Why would I be the one killing my fellow sect member? Handsome, don't listen to her nonsense. She's just stalling for time. This was the female lead's special skill. As long as she could stall for time, there would definitely be a chance to turn things around. I'm the direct disciple of the Misty Sect's sect master. Sir, you should think carefully. Yi Qingqiu calmly retreated. Shang Shu, this woman actually dared to. Feng Xi didn't even bat an eyelid. The flames floating in front of him shot towards Yi Qingqiu. Yi Qingqiu couldn't dodge the sea of fireballs. Yi Qingqiu's arm was hit, and she let out a scream. What are these flames? They're so terrifying. The surrounding fireballs converged towards Yi Qingqiu, as if they wanted to envelop her. But halfway through, a gust of wind blew from Yi Qingqiu's side, causing the fireballs to sway. A trace of displeasure flashed through Feng Xi's eyes. A fire dragon flew out of his sleeve and headed straight for Yi Qingqiu. Yi Qingqiu instinctively blocked the male lead in front of her. Feng Xiai, this is the mortal world. Do you want to attract the realm guards? A weak voice suddenly rang out. The person who spoke was the male lead Long Ju. He was supported by Yi Qingqiu. His body was still in a sorry state, and looked like he could be stabbed to death with a finger. Unfortunately, he wasn't dead. He looked at Yi Qingqiu with an ambiguous gaze. Yi Qingqiu avoided his gaze, but she didn't let go of Long Ju either. Feng Xiai flicked his wrist, and the fire dragon stopped an inch away from Yi Qingqiu. It changed its angle and flew back, merging with the flames around him. Yi Qingqiu gasped for breath. Her face was slightly pale. Almost. I almost died. Shangshu. I definitely won't let this woman off. Shisheng. As expected, the female lead isn't that easy to kill. Capture her and bring her back to the celestial world to kill. Shisheng. Going to such great lengths to kill a person? Lord Villain, you're so awesome. Just as Shisheng was sighing, a white light suddenly appeared under Long Ju's feet. The light instantly enveloped Long Ju and Yi Qingqiu. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared without a trace. Damn, as expected of the Dragon Clan's young master. He even has something as precious as a teleportation talisman. Should we chase after them? Feng Xiai looked at Shisheng seriously. No, it's boring. Shisheng shook his head. The female lead hadn't even ascended to the celestial world yet. Killing her would be too easy for her. It would be better to keep her alive and let her and the male lead hate each other. You're Feng Xiai? I'm Shangshu. You're from the celestial world? Shisheng blinked and asked curiously. He already knew this information. And you can call me Xiai. Come back to the celestial world with me. Feng Xiai was hesitant at first, but the last sentence was very forceful. It was as if he would kidnap her if Shisheng didn't agree. Asterisk, the sickly male lead is online. Please don't be careless, begging for votes, begging for collections, begging for rewards, begging for book reviews. I have 1,100 recommendation votes. Chapter 56. I can't go to the immortal realm. Shisheng shook his head, looking melancholy. I'm only at the foundation establishment stage, and I'm still far from ascending to the immortal realm. Feng Xiai frowned. But you can stay in the cultivation world. Shisheng's eyes sparkled. You've been in the immortal world for a long time, haven't you? It's also a kind of experience to change to another place. Stay. If I stay here, will you stay with me? That's right. This Baobao still has to help you ascend to the throne of the immortal emperor, so of course I have to be with you. First, he had to increase his favorability and trust. All right. Shisheng silently deleted the countless persuasion words in his mind. She didn't even give him a chance to use his eloquence. She agreed too quickly. Were the villains in the early stages so easy to coax? Feng Xiai had never met anyone who could get close to him. Now that Shisheng could get close to him, of course he was happy. In fact, he had already decided to keep Shisheng in captivity. I'll go catch that snake and make it your mount. Feng Xiai reached out and grabbed Shisheng's hand, leading her to the place where the thunderclouds were the densest. Yes, his people should use the best things. Although the snakehead was not as good as a dragon, it was still considered the best in the mortal world and the cultivation world. He would go and catch a dragon for her when he reached the immortal world. Shisheng had no idea what Feng Xiai was planning, but when he heard that Feng Xiai was going to catch the snakehead snake, he was stunned. Wasn't this villain a little too nice to her? But why wasn't it a strategy quest this time? Could it be that the system already knew? The system was such a scum. How despicable. Therefore, the snake-legged snake that had just finished its tribulation and was about to ascend was captured by Feng Xiai and forced to sign a contract with Shisheng. The winged serpent refused, but in the face of absolute power, it did not dare utter a single word. It had endured the tribulation with great difficulty, and thought that beautiful days were waiting for it. Who knew that before it could transcend the tribulation, its immortal ascension grass was snatched away by a human. After transcending the tribulation, it was contracted. Who did it offend? From now on, you'll be called Pudding. Shisheng patted the head of the snakekin. No, it was now the snakekin dragon. After the winged serpent ascended, it would become the winged dragon. However, it could not be compared to the other pure-blooded dragons. Pudding? What kind of name was that? It was not cool at all. No. The flames around Feng Xi's body flared up. Yinlong's body trembled. Pudding it is. Can't you retract your flames? Shisheng looked at the flames behind her and felt a headache coming on. How could she bring him back like this? Sure. As soon as Feng Xi's voice fell, the flames disappeared completely. So why didn't you put it away before? Although the background looked awesome and gorgeous, it was still very scary, okay? This way, no one will find trouble with me. Feng Xi said each word slowly and seriously. A trace of viciousness flashed through his dark red eyes. You can only stay by my side in the future. Shisheng. Where did this sickly child come from? Let's rest here today and continue our journey tomorrow. Shisheng sighed and released Pudding. Go and catch some rabbits. Pudding could speak a long time ago, but it didn't want to talk to humans, especially those who had contracted it. Therefore, it just shook its head proudly and walked towards the forest in the distance. To catch rabbits. It was a Yinlong that had just ascended, but it wanted to catch rabbits. Catch rabbits. How could it survive in the future if word got out? Pudding angrily caught a few rabbits and threw them in front of Shisheng. With a flick of its tail, they disappeared. It couldn't afford to offend them, but it could still hide. Feng Xi looked at the rabbits in Shisheng's hands, and his eyes flashed. He reached out and took the rabbits. With a whoosh, flames appeared in his hands and the rabbits instantly turned into ashes. With a gentle breeze, the ashes drifted into the air. Shisheng. Feng Xi's long eyelashes fluttered like butterfly wings. His dark red eyes looked at his hands in confusion. His expression was adorable. In the next second, he grabbed Shisheng's hand with so much force that Shisheng heard the sound of bones cracking. As if he was confirming something, his confusion was slowly replaced by a smile. He said word by word, "You're mine. Let go." Shisheng gritted his teeth and glared at Feng Xi. My hand is about to break. Hearing this, Feng Xi didn't let go. Instead, he frowned. You don't want to be with me? Be with you my ass. Shisheng sucked in a cold breath. You're going to break my hand. Brother, can you let go of me first? You don't want to be with me? Feng Xi ignored Shisheng's words and asked stubbornly. Flames danced around his body. Under his calm expression, there was a violent aura. It was as if he would crush Shisheng to death on the spot if Shisheng said he didn't want to be with him. Oh, my bad temper. I do. Let go of me first. What backbone? Let's talk about that when I'm stronger than Feng Xi. Feng Xi retracted his aura and let go of Shisheng in satisfaction. He reached out to pick up the rabbits on the ground. In the blink of an eye, the rabbits were burned to a crisp. Not even a strand of hair was left. Shisheng rubbed his reddened hands and looked at Feng Xi strangely. What are you doing? What do you have against rabbits? That's my dinner. Feng Xi looked at Shisheng in confusion. I want to roast some rabbits for you. Roast rabbits? Do you know how powerful your fire is? Even an immortal wouldn't be able to handle it, let alone a rabbit. I'll do it myself. Shisheng said helplessly. What the hell did I pick up? Over the next few days, Shisheng finally understood how big of a problem he had picked up. Feng Xi was very possessive of her. Even if she glanced at a tree, it would be burned to ashes in the next second. You want to be the ruler of the immortal world? Don't you want the immortal world anymore? The system must be crazy. Because of Feng Xi, Shisheng missed the special bus back to the sect. She didn't know if Bai Lang would be beaten to death by his master if he went back and told him that he had lost her. She had Pudding who could fly, so it wasn't hard for her to return to the cultivation world. Pudding couldn't fly before it ascended, but after it ascended, it would grow a pair of wings. It looked strange and out of place. However, the people in the cultivation world thought it was very domineering and beautiful. Shisheng thought it was because he had a different sense of beauty compared to them. Let me tell you, when we get back to the sect, you're not allowed to burn people for no reason. You'll cause me trouble. Shisheng looked at Feng Xi seriously. Along the way, He had burned at least 80 people to death, if not 100. Basically, he would start burning people at the slightest provocation. He would burn people wherever he went. Okay. Feng Xiai nodded cutely. If you don't like it, I won't burn them. Shisheng. Don't King tease me for no reason. Voting at the slightest provocation 1100 recommendation votes, 1500 more next time. Come on, cherub, keep it up. Chapter 57. Shisheng sat on pudding and charged towards the Misty sect. However, he was stopped before he even entered the sect. Who's there? You're not allowed to fly above the Misty sect. Several disciples wearing Misty sect robes stood on their flying swords and blocked Shisheng's path. When they saw the person on the flying swords, their expressions changed, and they sized him up in surprise. Martial Uncle Shang. When they saw Feng Xiai standing beside Shisheng, their faces filled with fear and they all backed away. Shisheng looked at them in confusion. How long has it been since we last met? Or does she eat people? After Shisheng went in, he finally understood why they were looking at him like that. Yi Qingqiu had already returned to the sect, and told the sect master that she had colluded with outsiders to kill her. The entire Misty sect was talking about how cruel and merciless she was and how she killed her fellow sect members. She made it sound like it was true. I'll help you kill them. Feng Xi's eyes were filled with hostility. Other than him, no one else could say anything about his people. Shisheng quickly pulled Feng Xiai back. It's not like you'll lose anything if you say a few words. Let them talk. Damn it, killing people for no reason. I can't control this human-shaped killing machine. Feng Xiai looked at Shisheng in confusion. Only when he saw her holding his hand out of the corner of his, did the hostility in his eyes slowly recede. Let's go back to Heaven's Edge Peak first. Shisheng's voice suddenly stopped. He looked at the building beside them and saw a few people standing in the distance. My martial uncle isn't that kind of person. Chu Ning, I'm telling you, don't talk nonsense and slander my martial uncle. I'm talking nonsense? Who in the sect doesn't know? If you have the ability, go and shut their mouths. Look, even your martial uncle doesn't dare to come back. If she didn't do it, why wouldn't she dare to come back? Nonsense. Lin Yi, what are you doing? Lin Yi, you attacked first. Don't blame me for this. At first, Lin Yi attacked first. However, Chu Ning had several people on her side and Lin Yi had no chance of winning. After a few moves, she was at a disadvantage. Shisheng frowned and said, Wait for me here. Don't come out and don't make a move. Feng Xiai looked at Shisheng unhappily. He opened his mouth, but before he could say anything, Shisheng continued. Didn't you say you would listen to me? Feng Xiai pursed his lips and released the Shisheng after a few seconds. If they hurt you, I'll make sure they don't even have a corpse left. Shisheng. The cultivation version of the domineering CEO was online. Lin Yi's heart was filled with unwillingness, but she could only watch helplessly as the crescent-shaped wind blade swept towards her. The anger in her heart was replaced by fear. However, when she thought about how these people had insulted her martial uncle, Lin Yi felt fearless again. Master and Master will definitely prove Martial Ant's innocence and avenge her. Just as the wind blade was about to hit her, a layer of white ice wall suddenly appeared in front of her. The wind blade hit the ice wall, but it didn't even scratch the ice. Bullying the weak with numbers. Disciples of Wuyan Peak. Good manners. Lin Yi jerked her head in the direction of the sound. Against the light, a young girl in a purple Taoist robe slowly walked over. Her body seemed to be coated with a layer of holy white light. Every step she took felt like she was stepping on the tip of Lin Yi's heart, causing it to beat faster and faster. You. Chu Ning was stunned when she saw who it was. She said sarcastically, You actually dare to come back? Shisheng helped Lin Yi up and waved his hand to remove the ice wall. He said casually, Why wouldn't I dare to come back? You're still so stubborn. Let's see how you'll be able to talk back when the sect master finds you. Chu Ning snorted. She had her reasons for not liking Shisheng. A year ago, this woman had been shamelessly clinging to her older brother. This time she had failed. How could she not clap her hands in joy? Then you don't have to worry about it. Shisheng paused and looked at Chu Ning from the corner of his eyes. He suddenly raised his hand, and a few ice blades shot into Chu Ning's calves. Before Chu Ning could see what it was, her legs went soft and she fell to the ground. The people around her quickly caught her and stopped her from falling to the ground. Chu Ning's mind went blank. She had attacked too quickly. When did Shangshu's cultivation level become so high? Shangshu, what are you doing? One of the girls reacted and was furious. I'm just punishing a disrespectful disciple. Why, do you want to have a taste of it too? Shisheng stared at the girl and revealed a set of white teeth. His smile was a little eerie. He condensed a few ice blades in his hand and was about to throw them out. The girl was shocked. She didn't even see how the ice blades appeared. She was definitely no match for Shangshu. Her anger dissipated instantly. Chu Ning had a brother who was a direct disciple. She could do whatever she wanted, but they couldn't. Besides, even if Chu Yi came, he would have to call her martial aunt. Shangshu, I won't let you go. Chu Ning's face twisted in pain. She gritted her teeth and said, just you wait. This time, even Master Yu Xiao won't be able to protect you. Okay, I'll wait. Shisheng sneered and walked away with Lin Yi. If you dare to be so impudent in front of me again, I'll make sure you lose your leg. Chu Ning trembled in anger. She trembled a few times but couldn't say a word. She could only watch the two of them walk away. Lin Yi didn't dare to make a sound. She allowed Shisheng to lead her out of sight. Martial aunt. Did I get into trouble? Other than the arena, fighting was not allowed in the Misty sect. It was all because of her that her martial aunt had attacked Chu Ning. There's already a big problem anyway. One more doesn't matter. Shisheng said carelessly. But you knew you couldn't beat them. Why did you still attack them? Is there something wrong with your head? Lin Yi bit her lip and didn't dare to speak. She felt wronged. She had only attacked them because she couldn't stand what they said about her martial aunt. You had to endure it when you knew you couldn't beat them. Would you lose a piece of meat if you let them mock you? As long as they don't cross the line and she's happy, you should let her be happy. Find the right opportunity to pull her down when she's happy. That's the most painful moment. Lin Yi stared blankly at Shisheng. She couldn't believe that she would say something like that. What are you looking at? Are you stupid? Let me tell you, if you don't control your temper, you'll be at a disadvantage in the future. In this world, anyone who can achieve great things is someone who can endure. Lin Yi was protecting her, so Shisheng gave her a few pointers. Whether or not she could comprehend it depended on Lin Yi herself. I understand, martial aunt. She had always known that she had a bad temper, but she couldn't help it. Her martial aunt had told her so many times, but she still couldn't remember. The most important thing was that every time her master spoke, it was so profound, and it was always about great principles. How could she possibly listen and remember? Now that Shisheng had explained it so simply, she immediately understood. If you wanted to show off, you had to have the ability. If you didn't have the ability, then let others do it. When she wasn't paying attention, then make a move. Asking for the host's mental blackness ***. If you wanted to show off, you had to have the votes. Come on, darlings, use your votes to kill me. Chapter 58. Shisheng led Lin Yi to Fengxiai. Lin Yi was still pondering over Shisheng's words, and didn't notice the sudden appearance of another person. She was pushed away by a strong force and fell on her butt. Only then did she stare blankly ahead. Fengxiai grabbed Shisheng's hand and stared at Lin Yi with an unpleasant expression. His gaze made Lin Yi's scalp go numb. Cold air rushed to her head and her body went weak. Fear flooded her heart and drowned her. What are you doing? Shisheng rolled his eyes speechlessly. She's my martial niece. Martial niece, do you understand? She's not allowed to touch you. Fengxi's voice was slightly cold, making Lin Yi's heart tremble. Master, save me. There's a pervert here. Shisheng frowned. If he argued with him, there would be no result. Lin Yi might even suffer. So it was better for Lin Yi to suffer for now. At the very least, he would be able to keep his life. If this had happened before, Lin Yi would have been burned to ashes. When they returned to Tianjin Peak, Lin Yi threw herself into Bai Lang's arms. She was trembling in fear, but her little face kept rubbing against Bai Lang's chest. Shisheng held his forehead helplessly. This little pervert. Feng Xiai stared at Lin Yi seriously. No one knew what he was thinking. Shisheng went to find Yu Xiao and asked Feng Xiai to stay put. Feng Xiai actually agreed, but his gaze was fixed on Lin Yi and Bai Lang. Damn it! Was this guy thinking of burning Lin Yi while she was gone? After thinking about it, Shisheng still took Feng Xiai with him. It was better to bring this kind of human-killing machine with him. Yu Xiao wasn't surprised by Shisheng's return. Instead, he was more interested in Feng Xiai. The two men looked at each other, affectionately. The atmosphere was very harmonious. Did I walk into the wrong place? Shouldn't other masters start a fight when they see their own disciple bringing a man back? Did you take a liking to him the moment you came? Shisheng waited for a full 5 minutes in boredom, before Yu Xiao retracted his gaze. Xiaoshu, where did you pick this person up from? Shisheng. Master, what's wrong with you? What happened to being noble and elegant? How can you use the word pick up? It's so degrading. Master, is there a problem? Shisheng was perturbed. What was Yu Xiao trying to do? Yu Xiao glanced at Feng Xiai again. His expression was as cold as ever. I have something to say to Xiaoshu in private. May I ask this young master to wait outside? Feng Xiai immediately revealed an unhappy expression. The Shisheng hurriedly comforted him before he left in a bad mood. Yu Xiao raised his hand and set up a boundary. Xiaoshu, this person's fate is strange, but he is the best Dao companion for you. You've been waiting for a long time. Master, what are you talking about? What was the best Dao companion? What happened to the master-disciple relationship? What's with the way you're talking about your daughter? Yu Xiao spoke slowly for a long time. When Shisheng heard the last part, he was completely dumbfounded. They had only met once, and her cheap master was going to sell her. Xiaoshu, your fate is like this. If you were to be with him, you would still have a chance of survival. Yu Xiao sighed. There's not much I can do for you. Think about it carefully. What was there to consider? What did his cheap master say just now? I didn't hear anything. The dizzy Shisheng was chased out by Yu Xiao. Before he closed the door, he didn't forget to say, Xiaoshu, come with me to the main peak tomorrow at noon. It was probably because of Yi Qingqiu. Looking at Feng Xiai standing not far away, Shisheng felt stifled. Cheap master meant that if she didn't get together with him, she would die. What kind of ridiculous setting was this? Do I look good? Feng Xiai suddenly asked. No. Shisheng's lips twitched into a smile. Against his will he praised. You look good. You look the best. I'll only show you from now on. Shisheng. Will you die if you don't tease me? You're only showing me? Are you going to cover your face with that veil? F***ck. Feng Xiai naturally wouldn't cover his face. But she knew from Lin Yi and Bai Lang that even though they clearly saw Feng Xi's face, they couldn't remember it. Even if they were looking at him, they couldn't remember what he looked like. Shisheng. Experts with high cultivations are so arrogant. Bai Lang had received Yu Xiao's orders and prepared a room for Feng Xiai, but Feng Xiai directly carried the things to Shisheng's room. Bai Lang seemed to have received some information from Yu Xiao. He only revealed a strange smile and dragged the gossipy Lin Yi away. Shisheng had to cultivate at night and didn't sleep, so he let Feng Xiai do as he pleased. The next day, before Yu Xiao could bring Shisheng to the main peak, someone from the main peak came to invite them in. The main peak also had a name. It was called Cloud Ease Peak, but everyone was used to calling it the main peak. Cloud Ease Peak was rarely used. The main peak was naturally occupied by the sect master and his disciple. The sect master only had one disciple, Yi Qingqiu. So there were only the two of them on the main peak. Today the main peak was especially lively. All the representatives from the main peaks had arrived. Shisheng followed Yu Xiao into the main hall. He imitated Yu Xiao and half-heartedly bowed. Fortunately, everyone's attention was on Feng Xiai, so no one paid attention to his half-hearted attitude. Feng Xiai stood beside him and didn't say anything. Everyone around them was talking. Strange, why can't I see what he looks like? I can't see clearly either. Silence. with this cold shout. Those people immediately quieted down and looked respectfully at the man on the main seat. As the supporting male lead, he naturally wouldn't be too ugly. The sect master was also handsome and elegant. The sect master sized up Feng Xiai and was a bit wary. Qingqiu said that Shang Shu worked with a man to hurt her. It seemed that it was him. But why couldn't he see his face clearly? Was his cultivation higher than his? Cultivators naturally had some unorthodox methods. This kind of face-blurring spell was only useful in front of people with lower cultivation. If his cultivation was higher than his, then it would be troublesome. Shang Shu, do you admit to your crime? Since he couldn't figure out Feng Xi's background, the sect master could only focus on Shang Shu. Senior brother, this matter hasn't been clarified yet, so it might not be Xiao Shu's fault. Yu Xiao cupped his hands, his voice still unhurried. Senior brother, please let Xiao Shu speak. The sect master glared at Shang Shu with dissatisfaction, but still waved his hand. Shang Shu, tell me, did you attack Qingqiu? No. Shisheng shook his head. I didn't attack Qingqiu. I won't admit to something I didn't do. Do you think that my disciple would accuse you? The sect master looked coldly at Shisheng. A huge wave of pressure crashed down on Shisheng. Feng Xi's gaze turned cold. He raised his hand, and a fire dragon as thick as an arm appeared. It raised its head and attacked the sect master aggressively. Asterisk 1500 recommendation votes so fierce. IBBB was scared to death. Chapter 59. As soon as the fire dragon appeared, the sect master's coercion seemed to be defeated. He took a step back in disbelief. When the fire dragon was about to approach him, he hurriedly cast a spell and set up a barrier around him. However, the barrier was of no use. The fire dragon's body tightened around his barrier, and the barrier was burned by the flames. Claire. Shisheng called out. Feng Xiai hesitated for a moment and raised his hand to call back the fire dragon. At the same time, he shot out a few sharp blades condensed from flames, which passed through the cracks in the barrier and shot into the sect master's abdomen. Ugh. The sect master only felt a violent force squeeze into his body out of thin air, rampaging through his body as if it was going to tear him apart. From the beginning to the end, it only took a few seconds. When everyone came to their senses, the sect master was already holding his abdomen and kneeling on the ground on one knee. Sect master. How dare you? Who are you? How dare you attack the sect master? The people who came to their senses stepped forward and took out their weapons to point at Shisheng and Feng Xiai. Be reasonable, you guys. He was the one who attacked me first. Shisheng pulled Feng Xiai to his side and said sarcastically, don't you know that I'm just a foundation establishment cultivator? Do you think I can survive the sect master's coercion? Do you think you can do whatever you want? Damn it, he didn't want to listen to her explanation at all. No matter what she said, she would definitely take the blame. Just like the time when she drugged him in the plot, even if she had a witness, she was still the one who did it in the end. You are a disciple of the Misty sect. How can you disobey your superiors? Even if the sect master punishes you, it's because you attacked your fellow disciples first. You shall look at your good disciple. First, she killed her fellow disciples, and now she attacked the sect master. She must be severely punished. It's not enough to expel her from the sect. Back then, Master said that this woman's fate was unknown and would bring trouble to Junior Brother, but Junior Brother didn't believe him. Now, not only did she kill her fellow disciples, but she also disobeyed her superiors. Yu Zhao's expression remained unchanged. In the face of so many people's doubts, he still stood in front of Shisheng. The sect master attacked Shu first. Shu was just protecting herself. Yu, Junior Brother, how can you be so stupid? Shisheng looked at Yu Xiao in surprise. Was her fate unknown? In the plot, the original owner did bring disaster to Yu Xiao. These people. She didn't know what Yi Qingqiu had said to them, but they didn't even listen to her explanation before rushing to convict her. When Feng Xiai saw that Shisheng's expression wasn't good, his dark red eyes flashed with ruthlessness. He said word by word, hand over Yi Qingqiu, or he'll die. How dare you? Yu Xiao, are you just going to watch them do as they please? Jade Flute. Why are you calling me master? It wasn't my master who did it. Shisheng sneered. I, Shangshu, hereby renounce my master-disciple relationship with Yu Xiao. From now on, we have nothing to do with each other. Shisheng looked at Yu Xiao and said, Master, I'm sorry for being unfilial. I will repay you for raising me in the future. As long as she was not around, Yu Xiao should not die, so the best way was to cut off all ties with Yu Xiao. Xiaoshu. Yu Xiao frowned and looked at her. Master, don't worry. I have the ability to protect myself. Shisheng winked at Yu Xiao. Without waiting for him to speak, he turned to the group of people who were glaring at them. There's no need to trouble yourself to expel me. I'll leave on my own. Kill them. Feng Xi raised his hand and was about to set fire to the hall. Shisheng didn't stop him. He only summoned Pudding when he was about to set fire to the hall. He pulled Feng Xi onto Pudding and they flew out of the hall. Tell Yi Qingqiu to hurry up and cultivate. I'll come back to find her. This sentence echoed in the Misty Sect for a long time. Shisheng didn't immediately leave the Misty Sect. Instead, he went to find Lin Yi and Bai Lang, and told them to take good care of Yu Xiao, and not let him go against Yi Qingqiu. Lin Yi hugged Shisheng, and cried until she was thrown out by Feng Xi. By the time Bai Lang came back with his disciple, Shisheng and Feng Xi were already gone. Shisheng only found out about the sect master's death when he saw her and Feng Xi's arrest warrant. Shisheng knew how he died. If Feng Xi didn't summon the flames that Feng Xi had injected into his body, they would slowly burn away the spirit energy in his body. That kind of feeling was worse than death. That day, when Feng Xi set fire to the Misty Sect, several peak masters didn't escape. After losing so many peak masters in a row, the Misty Sect fell into an unprecedented crisis. Feng Xi stared at the portrait on the arrest warrant. After a long while, he spat out a word. Ugly. He raised his hand and burned the arrest warrant to ashes. Shisheng looked around. Luckily, there wasn't anyone around and no one saw his actions. Otherwise, he'd be in trouble again. You look good. Feng Xi turned to Shisheng. You're ugly. Shisheng. No need to explain, this baby understands. I can help you destroy the Misty Sect. Feng Xi didn't understand why Shisheng wanted to stop him. It was just a small sect in the lower realm. He could easily destroy it with a lift of his finger. Don't you think it's better to watch them struggle and live in pain? Feng Xi looked at Shisheng in confusion. Would it be better? Yes, everything she said was right. It would definitely be better. Next time, don't let those people die so quickly. Shisheng didn't know that because of her one sentence, Feng Xi would use all kinds of methods to torture people in the future. There were still 10 years until the sex competition, which was held once every 50 years. Therefore, Shisheng still had time to cultivate. In these 10 years, in order to help Shisheng increase his cultivation level, Feng Xi had traveled the entire cultivation world. As long as there was something good, he would snatch it for Shisheng. Therefore, in these 10 years, the two of them became famous in the cultivation world. Their enemies could circle the cultivation world a few times. The Misty Sect's people were also persistent. Once they heard about her and Feng Xi, they swarmed over like bees. Which you'll die a horrible death. Why is it that I'll die a horrible death again? Didn't you guys come for the Reaper's sword in my hand? Shisheng waved the pitch-black sword in his hand. You say you're upholding justice, but you're actually robbing people. You self-proclaimed righteous sects are nothing more than this. Bah, you were the one who snatched the Reaper's sword. The man retorted unconvinced. Yes, I'm capable, so I snatched it. I've never retorted. Since you want the Reaper's sword so much, then I'll use it to send you on your way. No need to thank me. As soon as he finished speaking, Shisheng stabbed the sword into the man's chest without hesitation. The man's eyes widened. Dark red blood seeped out of the corner of his mouth. His face quickly turned pale. His body twitched, and he lost all signs of life. Feng Xi walked up to her and wiped her hands. He said seriously, I'll do this kind of thing. Shisheng looked at the man who was wiping her hands. His movements were very gentle, as if he was afraid of hurting her. However, he felt that her hands were dirty, so he stubbornly wiped them. Okay, it's already very clean. Shisheng grabbed Feng Xi's hand and smiled at him. Feng Xi wiped her hands one last time, and wrapped them in his hands. You should keep your hands clean. Here it comes again, here it comes again. I'm not your pet. Even pets can kill people. Come. Read it out loud. Feng Xi, I want to marry you. 700 book reviews plus update next time. 1000 book reviews plus update. Chapter 60. Speaking of the Reaper's sword, this thing had quite the background. The Reaper's sword wasn't a divine weapon, but a very famous evil sword. Its lethality wasn't any weaker than divine weapons. Although it was an evil sword, there were still tens of thousands of people who wanted to obtain it. At that time, it stirred up a storm of blood in the cultivation world. Because it caused too much of a commotion, it alarmed the celestial realm. The celestial realm sent people down to seal it. At that time, the people of the celestial realm wanted to destroy it. But how could this kind of sword be destroyed so easily? They had no choice but to seal it. Not long ago, there was news of the Reaper's sword's appearance. Shisheng was nearby at that time. He originally wanted to see those people being tortured by the Reaper's sword. Who knew that she would obtain the Reaper's sword in the end? In the storyline, this sword would also appear. Moreover, the person who obtained it was Yi Qingqiu's sworn enemy. So, this Mr. Plotline was still forcing her to her death. What the F***ck? The sect competition was imminent. People of the cultivation world rushed to the MT Tong sect. From time to time, large groups of cultivators could be seen flying over their heads on their flying swords. In the storyline, the sect competition was held at the Misty sect. However, the Misty sect's strength had declined, and they no longer had the qualifications to hold the sect competition. Thus, it was held at the MT Tong sect instead. Shisheng and Feng Xi leisurely walked to the MT Tong sect. Those who came to participate in the sect competition were all sections. It was rare to see a two-person team like theirs. Thus, there would occasionally be curious divine senses sweeping down from the sky. Some people who saw them clearly almost fell off their flying swords. Mommy, it's that witch Shang Shu and that great devil who kills without blinking an eye. Why are they here? Are they waiting for all the sects to gather and catch us all in one fell swoop? People of the cultivation world called Feng Xi the Great Devil, because no one knew his name. Those who knew his name had already been burned to ashes. Thus, when Shisheng and Feng Xi arrived, the entire MT Tong sect was waiting for them. There was a guard every 3 steps and a sentry every 5 steps. The scene was very spectacular. Yo, such a big formation to welcome me. Shisheng's I'm very satisfied. You've done well. Expression caused the group of people who had been eyeing her covetously to feel speechless. Who the F***ck is welcoming you? Have some shame. What do you want? The sect leader of the MT Tong sect stood up, filled with righteous indignation. Today all the major sects are here. Don't even think about being impudent. What are you talking about? Am I such a cruel person? Shisheng blinked innocently. You are. There are so many of us. Do you think we're afraid of the two of you? Someone from the MT Tong sect shouted. Leave quickly. We won't hold it against you. But I don't want to leave. Shisheng looked at the man awkwardly. If you don't like it, you can leave. I won't stop you. Everyone. This was their territory. What right did they have to leave? What are you trying to do? If it was just Shisheng alone, they wouldn't be afraid. However, with the big devil around, they had no chance of winning at all. There was once a sect that offended these two. It was said that the entire sect was instantly annihilated. Many people did not even have the chance to make a move. This incident spread like wildfire. Some curious people went to take a look at the sect's encampment. The entire sect was gone, leaving only a pile of white ashes. It was said that it was burned by fire. Everyone knew that the big devil's fire was powerful, but they didn't expect it to be this powerful. The entire sect was burned to ashes. Shisheng shrugged. Nothing. We just want to watch the intersect tournament. Why? Are we not allowed to watch? Who knows what you're thinking? Feng Xiai suddenly stepped forward, a flame flickering in his hand. The empty Tong sect leader's expression changed. His pupils shrank. He gritted his teeth and endured the humiliation. Please come in. He didn't want his empty Tong sect to end up in the same state as the destroyed sect. The others didn't dare to say anything. If the fire really hit them, they wouldn't be able to put it out. They could only wait to be burned to death. The empty Tong sect leader ordered 2 disciples to lead Shisheng and Feng Xiai up the mountain. Sect leader, are we really going to let them in? The inter-sect tournament was a grand event in the cultivation world. If something happened, the MT Tong sect would be responsible. What else can you do? If he had a way, would he have to swallow his anger? The disciple didn't say anything. He wanted to say that since there were so many of them, they might be able to defeat the 2 if they worked together. But when he saw the sect leader's expression, he didn't say anything. The others' faces were also ashen. Something bad was definitely going to happen in this inter-sect tournament. The leaders of the various sects all warned their disciples not to provoke them, and to run as soon as they saw them. Can't outrun them? Beg for mercy if you can't outrun them? Still can't? Then you can only blame yourself for being unlucky. Just wait for your death. Fight. Don't joke around. The great demon can burn you to death with just a flick of his finger. Shisheng moved into the MT Tong sect to watch the inter-sect tournament. Everyone was shocked and angry, but they couldn't do anything about it. The MT Tong sect leader held an emergency meeting in the middle of the night, and finally decided on the direction of the inter-sect tournament. Don't provoke them. According to the rumors in the past few years, if you don't provoke them, they won't chop people for fun. In other words, even if you don't like them and stare them to death, they won't care about you as long as you don't say anything or do anything. For a while, everything was peaceful. Until the people of the ethereal sect arrived. When enemies meet, their eyes turn red. When they heard that Shisheng and Feng Xiai were in the empty Tong sect, the disciples of the ethereal sect became extremely excited. They shouted that they wanted revenge, that they wanted to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens, and that they wanted to rid the world of evil. Even the MT Tong sect leader couldn't stop them. The MT Tong sect leader even wanted to die. In the past, the ethereal sect relied on their sect leader and a few peak leaders to become the #1 sect in the cultivation world. But now their sect leader was dead, and the peak leaders were either dead or injured. In the past few years, they had been deliberately suppressed by some people. They couldn't even compare to a second-rate sect. Yet they still dared to be so arrogant. Shangshu, come out and face your death. The group of people shouted their slogans as they surrounded Shisheng's residence. Shisheng was eating sunflower seeds as he looked at the people shouting outside with interest. These people were very energetic. Feng Xiai said with some dissatisfaction, "I'll shut them up. They're disturbing you." Shisheng threw away the sunflower seed shell in his hand and said casually, "Let them shout. You just need to set up a barrier. Instead of arguing with these people, I'd rather cultivate. How can I act cool if I'm not strong enough?" Feng Xiai wouldn't go against Shisheng's words. That would make her unhappy. But he wouldn't listen to Shisheng completely either. When he was setting up the barrier, he purposely left his flames on it. As long as someone touched it, it would be unforgettable. Thus, the people of the ethereal sect realized that no matter how much they shouted, there was no movement from inside. If they hadn't confirmed that they were really staying here and hadn't left, they would have thought that the MT Tong sect was playing with them. Someone couldn't wait and suggested that they fight their way in. But this time something happened. The first batch of disciples from the ethereal sect was almost completely annihilated. Asterisk, the new little fairy is so handsome. Tickets please, I want to book tickets for next week. Sob sob sob. Chapter 61. With the Misty Sect's cannon fodder, those who wanted to cause trouble gave up on the idea. Not a single living person could be seen within a few miles of where Shisheng lived. When most of the people from the various sects had arrived, the sect tournament was about to begin. Yi Qingqiu and her people arrived on the first day of the sect tournament. Before she could even warm her seat, the first batch of disciples came to complain. Sect Master, Shang Shu injured us to this extent. You can't just let it go like this. You have to avenge our disciples. That's right, Sect Master. What she did was a slap to the Misty Sect's face. Sect Master, you have to avenge us. The indignant disciples surrounded Yi Qingqiu, all of them talking at once. In conclusion, there was only one sentence: avenge them. Yi Qingqiu became the sect master not long ago. After the previous sect master died, the position of Misty Sect's sect master had been empty. Those who could fight for it were all lying down. As for the others, even if they had the strength, they couldn't take up the position because they didn't have a proper name. The sect tournament was about to begin, so they naturally couldn't be without a sect master. Thus, the few peak masters who were still alive suddenly joined forces and asked Yi Qingqiu to take up the position. Yi Qingqiu agreed half-heartedly. Without the sect master's cheat, Yi Qingqiu had suffered quite a bit over the years. His entire person looked gloomy. I'll take care of this matter for you all. Go and recuperate first. We can't lose the sect tournament. After comforting the disciples and sending them off, Yi Qingqiu slammed her hand on the table. Her face was ferocious as she spat out 2 words from between her teeth. Shang Shu. This woman killed my master and destroyed the Misty Sect with a single fire. The suffering I've suffered over the past few years was all because of her. I'll get my revenge one day. Little girl, are you that impatient? A mocking voice rang out in the room. Yi Qingqiu was stunned. Her ferocious expression slowly faded away, and she returned to her cold goddess self. What do you want this time? The voice laughed strangely. I smell something very nice. Humph. A trace of disgust flashed through Yi Qingqiu's eyes. This is the sect tournament. All the powers of the cultivation world are gathered here. Little girl, this is not up to you. If you don't want to experience the consequences. Yi Qingqiu seemed to have thought of something and her face turned pale. Her body trembled slightly, and her eyes were filled with hatred. Her hands were clenched into fists, and her veins were popping out. The Great Sect competition was actually for each sect to send people up to spar and test the strength of each sect. To put it bluntly, it was to find out which family had gained more powerful fighters over the years. Shisheng was quite interested in watching these people fight. He and Feng Xi occupied the best viewing area of the audience. Her area was so clean that it looked like it had been swept by a tornado. There was not a single living person in sight. Feng Xi directly burned all the things that were in the way and brought over a soft couch, snacks, spirit tea, and a parasol. His posture was even more relaxed than watching a show. Everyone trembled when they thought about how there was a witch and a great demon watching them while they were sparring. The Misty Sect's seat was opposite Shisheng. Yi Qingqiu's gaze swept over Shisheng from time to time. She had heard many rumors about him in the past 10 years, but this was the first time she had seen him. He didn't seem to have changed much in the past 10 years, but he had changed his clothes to black. It was a stark contrast to the man beside him, one black and one white. Who was that man? Why can't I see through Yi Qingqiu's cultivation? Can you see through it, Xi? Shisheng tilted his head and looked at Feng Xi. She remembered that the female lead was only at the late stage of foundation establishment during the sect tournament. Now that she was at the peak of foundation establishment, she couldn't see through Yi Qingqiu's cultivation. Could it be that without the sect master's protection, the female lead had grown faster? Feng Xi only took a glance and retracted his gaze. He said indifferently, late stage of foundation establishment. Then why can't I see through it? There's a seal on her body. Do you need me to undo it? He couldn't be bothered to do anything that wasn't presentable. Shisheng saw the hint of disdain in Feng Xi's eyes and couldn't help but look in Yi Qingqiu's direction. Her gaze just so happened to meet Yi Qingqiu's. Yi Qingqiu didn't have time to hide the hatred in her eyes, and Shisheng saw it. Shisheng pursed his lips and smiled. Is there something wrong with her body? The contempt in Feng Xi's eyes deepened, and his voice became more forceful. Don't look. It'll dirty your eyes. Shisheng was speechless. What the hell was going on? Seeing Feng Xi's insistence, Shisheng had no choice but to retract his gaze. If she went against him, she wouldn't be the one to suffer. It would definitely be the people around her. She didn't want to be attacked by a group yet. Nothing unexpected happened during the next few days of the competition. Shisheng spent every day either watching the show or staying in her room. She didn't do anything out of line, causing those who were on tenterhooks to heave a sigh of relief. At night, Shisheng yawned as he followed behind Feng Xiai on a deserted mountain path. Feng Xiai glanced back at him from time to make sure he was still following before continuing forward. "Where are we going?" Shisheng caught up with Feng Xiai in a few steps and walked side by side with him. "It's a moonless and windy night. Who made you angry that you want to kill someone in the dark?" "I'm not killing anyone." Feng Xiai shook his head innocently. "I'll take you to see something." See something? Is it a live-action romance movie? What's in the host's head? Feng Xiai seemed to be taking her to the Mt Tong sect's forbidden area. Don't ask him how he knew. There were two big words, forbidden area, at the entrance of the sect. Anyone who wasn't blind could see it. The entire mountain was a forbidden area. What the hell was inside? Shisheng suddenly wanted to back out. Wasn't it a little inappropriate to sneak into someone's forbidden area in the middle of the night? The path up the mountain was dark and gloomy. Feng Xiai condensed 2 fireballs and placed them beside Shisheng to illuminate her. When they were about to reach the top, Feng Xiai put away the fireballs. Suddenly, he reached out and pulled Shisheng into his arms. With a leap, he jumped onto a protruding rock above. Feng Xiai carried her up a few steps, then put her down. "You'll be able to see it in a while." Shisheng looked at the dark ground in front of him and patted his cheeks with both hands. Villains are so hard to please. They waited for nearly an hour. Shisheng sat on the rock and was so bored that he started cultivating. When Feng Xiai called him, he opened his eyes and saw the faint blue light all over the ground, outlining the outlines of flowers. It was very dreamy and beautiful. At this moment, she was sitting right in the middle of the blue light. This scene was like a movie's special effects. In the vast starry sky, the stars shone brightly. It was very stunning. The blue light flickered with the wind as if it was breathing. "Do you like it?" Feng Xiai half knelt in front of Shisheng and raised his head slightly. His dark red eyes were filled with anticipation. "Shisheng. Where did he learn this flirting skill? Does he feel uncomfortable if he doesn't flirt with me for a day?" "You don't like it?" Feng Xiai lowered his eyes in disappointment. A bright yellow flame jumped out of his hand. I like it. "My dear lord, is it really okay for you to start a fire without saying anything? This is someone else's forbidden area. Don't you know it's a forbidden area?" Please vote, more 1,000 recommendation votes and 2 chapters. Chapter 62. Hearing Shisheng say that she liked it, Feng Xiai immediately extinguished the fire. "This is a Siamese fluorescent flower. It's very rare." Siamese fluorescent flower. Never heard of it. If Feng Xiai said it was rare, then it must be very rare. But even if it looked good, it was useless. It wasn't that the Siamese fluorescent flower was useless, it was just that it wasn't that useful to Shisheng. If a disciple who hadn't reached foundation building could reach foundation building here, they would definitely succeed. No wonder the Mt Tong sect listed this place as a forbidden area. After looking at the flowers, the two of them went back the way they came. Under the silvery moonlight, their figures occasionally overlapped. Shisheng was a bit dazed. In her memory, no one had ever accompanied her like this before. Shisheng's expression turned cold for a moment, but in the blink of an eye, she returned to her usual calm and indifferent appearance. Her gaze shifted from the figure in front of her to somewhere further away. The darkness concealed the emotions in her eyes. On the way up the mountain, Shisheng suddenly pulled Feng Xiai to hide behind a bush. Just as she pressed Feng Xiai to crouch down, a black shadow flew past them from not too far away. The moonlight was quite bright today, allowing Shisheng to clearly see who it was. Yi Qingqiu. What was she doing here so late at night? Could it be that she also came out for a date? Strange, why would she use also? But at a time like this, of course he had to follow her and watch. While he was at it, he could also do some damage. Yi Qingqiu was very vigilant, so Shisheng didn't dare to get too close. Feng Xiai looked at her in confusion for a while, then realized what Shisheng was doing. He set up a barrier around her and himself, then swaggered behind her. Oh shit, how could I forget about the villain? Shisheng was very confident in Feng Xi's barrier. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to take the Reaper's sword away unscathed with so many people watching over her. The place Yi Qingqiu was heading to was the forbidden area they had just left. She was so familiar with the place that it didn't seem like it was her first time here. Shisheng followed her to a cave. Let me go. I beg you to let me go. A voice begging for mercy came from the cave. Shisheng raised his eyebrows in surprise. He felt his way to the entrance of the cave and peeked inside. There was plenty of light inside and the cave wasn't very big. A young girl was tied up and thrown into the middle of the cave. She was twisting her body in a strange position, begging for mercy. Yi Qingqiu stood to the side, coldly looking at her. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being chosen by him. Yi Qingqiu's voice was filled with disgust. Hurry up. The last sentence was obviously not meant for the girl on the ground, but there was no other sound in the cave except for the girl's terrified pleas for mercy. There was no one else. However, the girl was changing. Her pleading voice became weaker and weaker, and she started to pant with a flushed face. It was as if Shisheng's vision suddenly darkened. Her eyes were covered by a pair of cold hands, and a murderous voice exploded in her ears. Dirty. Shisheng. Dirty my ass. Shisheng took a few deep breaths to stop himself from hitting Feng Xiai. He reached out to pull Feng Xi's hands away. Feng Xiai was dissatisfied with Shisheng's actions. How could he let her see such a scene? He didn't dare to use too much force, but he also didn't want Shisheng to see the scene inside. Seeing that Shisheng was about to pull his hands away, he pressed down on Shisheng's shoulders and pulled her into his embrace, pressing her head against his chest. Feng Xiai rarely touched Shisheng. He would only grab Shisheng's hands when he felt uneasy. The most he did was hug her waist like before, but he had never hugged her so intimately before. First, Shisheng wouldn't allow it. Second, he was afraid that he would hurt her unconsciously. At that moment, Feng Xiai felt like he could hear his heart thumping. Her soft body was tightly held in his embrace, and her body was pressed against his chest. Her body temperature was transmitted to him through her clothes. It wasn't warm but boiling hot. This was his. He was all alone. Shisheng felt that Feng Xiai was holding her tighter and tighter. She found it difficult to breathe, and her brain was short of oxygen. She squeezed out his name from between her teeth. Xiai. Her soft voice was like a spring that poured into Feng Xi's heart. He instantly sobered up. His dark red pupils were confused at first, and then he suddenly let go of Shisheng. He looked at Shisheng helplessly. Did I hurt you? Where does it hurt? Don't be angry. I won't touch you again. Towards the end, Feng Xi's expression became somewhat downcast. Shisheng gasped for air. Fresh air rushed into his lungs, and Shisheng felt better. Her body was a little weak, but she didn't dare to get close to Feng Xiai. She took a step back and leaned against the rock outside the cave. Damn it, you scared me to death. Why did you suddenly have an attack? At least give me a hint. Seeing Shisheng's action, Feng Xi's eyes were filled with anger, but he suppressed it in an instant. There was a hint of pleading in his voice. Don't be afraid of me. Anyone who saw his helpless look would find it unbearable. But Shisheng had just taken a trip to the edge of hell, and she felt that she was already very generous not to cut him with the sword of the Heaven Reaper. After calming down his wildly beating heart, Shisheng felt a little more clear-headed. If she hadn't resisted Feng Xiai just now, he wouldn't have had an attack. So this was all her own fault. Flips table, why is it all my fault? I can't do this task anymore. I'm going to go on strike. Don't touch me again without my permission. Looking at Feng Xi's helpless and adorable look, Shisheng couldn't say the harsh words that were on the tip of his tongue. He could only change his words bitterly. Feng Xiai was a little confused. He stared at Shisheng seriously, and after a long while he nodded. I won't touch you. Don't leave me. Shisheng. As if there was something going on between them. If she couldn't get close to him, this guy would probably burn her to ashes in minutes. The kind that wouldn't even blink an eye. There was no right or wrong in Fengxi's world, but it wasn't based on his mood either. She didn't understand the principles behind his actions at all. He just attacked when he wanted to, without any rhyme or reason. When Shisheng turned back to look at the cave, the girl had already turned into a dried corpse. A black fog had appeared beside Yi Qingqiu at some point, and half of the fog was still covering the dried corpse. What the hell is that? Yi Qingqiu didn't seem to have this kind of cheat in the storyline. Don't just randomly jump in. Demon. Fengxi said in a low voice. That's the remnant soul of a demon. Demon? No, where did Yi Qingqiu get the remnant soul of a demon? Shisheng wasn't surprised to hear the disdain in Fengxi's voice. When he saw Yi Qingqiu at the sect tournament, he had the same expression of disdain and disdain. It was as if Yi Qingqiu was a dirty thing that would dirty his eyes just by looking at her. Although Fengxi was a villain, he was also a proper villain. So when facing an elite villain like the demon, he didn't have the revolutionary feeling of being a villain at all. Shisheng Xian Cherub, can you please vote? La 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 la, look at how cute I am. Chapter 63. Yi Qingqiu dealt with the corpse and came out of the cave. She walked down the mountain with a gloomy expression, completely oblivious to the two people standing outside the cave. She had made a contract with this demon 5 years ago. At that time, she had offended a few people and was chased to a cliff. She had no choice but to jump down. Without her knowledge, she had made a contract with this demon. By the time she woke up, it was already too late. If she wanted to get rid of this demon, she had to help him recover his body. But he needed a female cultivator with a water spirit root to recover his body, so the first one to suffer was her. Because of their contract, she didn't turn into a dried corpse. But she definitely didn't want to experience that feeling a second time. So she had no choice but to find another female cultivator with a water spirit root. If this was in the original plot, Yi Qingqiu would have the sect master's protection, and everything would go smoothly. She wouldn't have fallen off the cliff and wouldn't have met this demon. Naturally, she wouldn't have experienced all this. Shisheng naturally didn't know about this. Even if he did, he would only sigh and say that fate made fools of people. What the original owner experienced in the demon race was worse than death. Yi Qingqiu's experience couldn't even be considered an appetizer. When Shisheng arrived at the competition site the next day, he found that everyone was so excited that it was as if they had eaten stride. They weren't as afraid of her as before. Some even had expressions of schadenfreude on their faces, as if they were waiting for her misfortune. What the hell happened in one night? Wasn't Yi Qingqiu the one who did something bad? Why are you looking at me like that? Which, our sect master invites you over. A few MT Tong sect disciples suddenly blocked Shisheng's path. Just as they finished speaking, they were sent flying and crashed into a small forest in the distance, startling a few birds. Silence filled the surroundings. Shisheng turned to look at Fengxi. Why did you hit him out of the blue? Fengxi blinked innocently and said seriously, I didn't kill him. Shisheng. You didn't kill him, but you'll probably be bedridden for half a year now. Forget it. What's the point of reasoning with a villain? But why would the MT Tong sect master invite me over? Could it be that last night's incident was discovered and Yi Qingqiu pushed the blame onto me? Reality proved that Shisheng's imagination was running wild. The sect master's invitation to him had nothing to do with Yi Qingqiu. Instead, it had something to do with the male lead. Someone from the celestial realm had arrived. Someone from the celestial realm had arrived. Unlike the first time they met, Longju now looked very much like a Prince Charming. He was immaculately dressed, had a dignified appearance, and was very handsome. He was the kind of Prince Charming that looked handsome no matter where he looked. Long Yang's deep gaze swept past Shisheng and landed on Fengxi. Fengxi lowered his head and didn't look at Longju. It was incredibly awkward. Why are you looking for me? Shisheng asked casually as he looked at the sect leader of the MT Tong sect, who was standing behind Longju. Let this baby admire the mighty and domineering posture of the male lead Darren? TSK. Speaking of which, since the male lead is here, shouldn't he go find the female lead first? She didn't know what happened between the two of them after Long Ju took Yi Qingqiu away last time. Did they fight? Cough cough, it's like this. About the Reaper's sword. The MT Tong sect leader braced himself and finished his sentence. Shisheng finally understood what was going on. When the people of the Celestial Realm noticed the appearance of the Reaper's sword, they ordered Long Ju to bring it back and reseal it. Perhaps it was because they had been too peaceful these past few days that the sect leader of the MT Tong sect felt that they could negotiate peacefully, which was why they did this. If I hand it over, then wouldn't this baby have been chased for nothing for so long? I definitely won't do a losing deal. Moreover, Long Ju had killed the original owner of this body by 1,000 cuts. Impossible, I already gave the Reaper's sword to Feng Xiai. Feng Xiai looked up blankly. When did she give the Reaper's sword to him? Shisheng took out the Reaper's sword on the spot, and roughly shoved it into Feng Xi's hands. For you. This baby couldn't keep it, but how could the villain, Feng Xiai, not be able to keep it? Everyone. How could you be so careless? Feng Xiai, you should know better than me what the Reaper's sword is. Give it to me. Long Ju looked straight at Feng Xiai. Feng Xiai immediately hid the Reaper's sword behind his back. She gave it to me. I'm not giving it to you. That silly look didn't make him look like a villain at all. Instead, he looked like a child protecting his toy. Shisheng face-bombed. Villain-sama, bring out your domineering aura. This baby definitely won't stop you. Feng Xiai, the higher-ups have all heard about what you've done in the cultivation world all these years. If you continue to act so recklessly, you'll definitely attract a heavenly tribulation. If you give the Reaper's sword to me, it'll be considered a good deed. No need. Feng Xiai, are you going against the entire immortal realm? Feng Xiai lifted his eyelids. A trace of ridicule appeared on his calm face. Haven't you all wanted me dead for a long time? For so many years, these people had been thinking about his death all the time. Because his fire would cause them harm. They were afraid. They were terrified. As immortals, they were also afraid of death. The negotiation failed. Long Ju didn't seem to dare to face Feng Xiai directly. He could only watch as Feng Xiai took the Reaper's sword and Shisheng away. Taking the Reaper's sword back to the immortal realm was his mission. Naturally, he wouldn't let it go so easily. Since he had stayed behind, it was only natural that he would meet the female lead. The competition was about to end. Shisheng was waiting for something to happen. She definitely didn't come here to watch a show. Who would be bored enough to watch a group of people poking around and not dying? She came here to find the person who had drugged Yi Qingqiu and slandered the original owner of the body. Of course, Shisheng wasn't sure if this would happen again. After all, the plot had changed a lot. However, Shisheng wasn't disappointed. She caught that person. It's actually her. Shisheng sat on a lush tree trunk and looked down at the figure hurriedly walking past. Feng Xiai looked at Shisheng in confusion, then at the person below. Do you have a grudge? Kill. Shisheng. Kill, kill, kill. You only know how to kill. This baby isn't such a bloodthirsty person. It's over with one stab. What's so fun about that? Shisheng didn't stop the development of the situation. She wanted to see who Chu Ning would use as a shield this time, and at the same time, add fuel to the fire. Shisheng smiled maliciously. She found someone to send a message to Chu Yi. Then, she packed up the people Chu Ning found and threw them down the mountain. Yi Qingqiu drank the drugged tea. In the plot, Yi Qingqiu didn't roll in the sheets with anyone. First, it was because she found out in time. Second, she had the sect master's help. Now that the sect master wasn't suppressing her with his spiritual energy, it was hard to say. Chu Yi quickly arrived at Yi Qingqiu's room. Not long after he entered, strange sounds came from inside. Perhaps the drug was too strong, but the two of them stayed in the room until the middle of the night. During this time, two people came. One was Chu Ning, and the other was Long Ju. Chu Ning left after hearing the sounds inside. Long Ju was probably here to find Yi Qingqiu. However, when he heard the sounds inside the room, his face darkened. The pressure around him was frighteningly low. He stood there for a while before turning to leave. Asterisk, you guys want to have sex. Although it's not Feng Xiai or Shisheng, hahaha, don't hit me. Woo woo, I'm a pure child, please vote. Chapter 64. The next day, Chu Ning brought a few Misty sect disciples to Yi Qingqiu's door at dawn. She probably wanted to catch them in the act. But who knew that her brother would be the one who opened the door? Brother! You! Chu Ning pointed inside, then pointed at Chu Yi. Why are you here? Why is brother here? What about the people I called? Doesn't that mean brother? And Chu Ning panicked and grabbed Chu Ye's hand. Brother, tell me, you only came here in the morning, right? Chu Ye's ears turned red. Just thinking about what happened last night made his heart flutter. That wonderful feeling was something he would never forget. Moreover, it was the woman he had always liked. How could the disciples who came with Chu Ning not see what was going on? Chu Yi liking Yi Qingqiu wasn't something that happened in a day or two. Everyone was well aware of it. However, Yi Qingqiu had always treated Chu Yi calmly, and there was nothing special about it. How did they end up sleeping together today? Ning, what's the matter so early in the morning? Chu Yi tried his best to calm himself down. Chu Ning saw Chu Ye's expression and knew that he must have been the one with Yi Qingqiu last night. Her eyes turned red from anger, and she bit her lower lip. She didn't know where she got the courage to push Chu Yi aside and charge in. Yi Qingqiu, you shameless woman! How dare you seduce my brother? Chu Ning charged into the room and cursed in a sobbing voice. Do you really think you're all that just because you're the sect master? What do you have to be so proud of? Shameless! I don't know what methods you used to become the sect master. Yi Qingqiu had already put on her clothes. Her already gloomy face turned even darker when Chu Ning came in. Get out! Yi Qingqiu, you shameless woman! I'll kill you today! Chu Ning was like an enraged lion. She pulled out her sword and charged forward. She looked like she wanted nothing more than to tear Yi Qingqiu to pieces. Yi Qingqiu's eyes were filled with killing intent. She waved her hand and Chu Ning was sent flying by an invisible force, crashing into the corner of the room. Get out! Yi Qingqiu coldly glanced at the disciples who followed her in. They cowered and quickly left the room, closing the door behind them. The disciple who came out first saw the person standing on the stairs and called out, What are you doing so early? Shisheng looked behind them curiously. It's none of your business. One of the disciples shouted. I'm just curious. Shisheng smiled indifferently, but his smile was full of malice. Did someone sleep with your sect leader? You. If anyone were to sleep with someone, it should be their sect master sleeping with someone else. How could it be that their sect master was sleeping with someone else? Truly, nothing good comes out of a dog's mouth. Demoness, are you the one behind this? Sect master didn't like that brat Chu Yi at all, so why would he? It must be this demoness who did something to make that brat Chu Yi climb onto sect master's bed. How can you slander someone without any evidence? Everyone was exasperated. Was it still slander when there was evidence? Do you want me to tell you who did it? Shisheng smiled maliciously. It's free. I won't charge you. Everyone involuntarily trembled and shouted angrily. Don't talk nonsense. Do you think we will believe you? If you don't believe me, then forget it. Shisheng pursed his lips and walked towards Feng Xiai who was standing under the tree. The demoness left just like that? You haven't even started sowing discord yet, and you're already leaving? Come back. Tui, why did you come back? To kill us? Shisheng didn't leave. Instead, he stood under the tree with Feng Xiai and watched them. The disciples were terrified. They wanted to ask, shouldn't you be busy as villains? Why do you still have time to stand here and watch us? In the room, Yi Qingqiu sat on the bed and looked at Chu Ning who was forced to kneel on the ground. Chu Yi stood between the two of them in a dilemma. On one side was his sister, and on the other was his lover. Yi Qingqiu, you'll die a horrible death. Kill me if you can. Chu Ning's voice was hoarse from all the cursing. I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. You slut seducing my brother. Ninger, I'm the one who likes sect master. Even if it was seduction, it was me who seduced sect master. Chu Ye's face turned cold. Brother. Chu Ning raised her head and looked at Chu Yi in a daze. I'm your sister. You're actually speaking up for an outsider. Yi Qingqiu was the person he liked. How could she be an outsider? Enough. Yi Qingqiu stood up from the bed and looked down at Chu Ning. You know very well what you've done. Today's situation was caused by you. Chu Ning, I'll give you one more chance. Get out of the ethereal sect and never appear in front of me again. Yesterday, she only drank the tea she brought. What a coincidence, she came to find her early in the morning. Humph, who would believe that there was nothing fishy going on? No, I'm not leaving. I'll be wherever my brother is. Chu Ning panicked when she heard that Yi Qingqiu wanted to chase her away. It's not up to you. If you don't leave, then die. A trace of hostility flashed through Yi Qingqiu's eyes. Naturally, she wouldn't let Chu Ning go. However, she couldn't do anything to her here. Chu Yi was a little confused. He had no idea what they were talking about. However, when he saw his sister's expression, he understood. It wasn't that he didn't know about Chu Ning's possessiveness towards him. However, this would save him a lot of trouble. He didn't care about what she did to other people, but Yi Qingqiu was different. She was the person he liked. This disciple will send Ning away. Chu Yi cupped his hands towards Yi Qingqiu. His eyes were filled with greed as he looked at Yi Qingqiu a few times. He then pulled Chu Ning out. Brother, what are you doing? I'm not leaving. Let go of me. Let go. Brother, how can you abandon me for a woman? Have you forgotten how we relied on each other for survival? Brother, let go of me. I'm begging you. Don't chase me away. Brother. Chu Ning's voice gradually became softer. In the end, Chu Ning was still sent away. Yi Qingqiu faced the doubts of the disciples and gave a perfunctory explanation. The matter was over. It's you. Yi Qingqiu looked at the person walking towards her, and a trace of surprise appeared in her eyes. Heh. Long Ju snorted mockingly. Sect Master Yi has really made me see you in a new light. Yi Qingqiu frowned slightly. She was a little flustered. Why do you say that, young master? The corner of Long Ju's mouth twitched as he strode past her. Yi Qingqiu watched as Long Ju's figure disappeared around the corner. She felt very uncomfortable. Why was he looking at her with such an expression? After he took her away from the forest of death, the teleportation talisman malfunctioned and sent them to a strange place. She had spent a lot of effort to bring him out when he was heavily injured. After spending a few days together, the estrangement from before had pretty much disappeared. Moreover, when he was heavily injured, she was the one who did everything. At that time, he clearly had feelings for her. So why was it that when they met this time? Asterisk lalala. Do you want to update? I'm still short of 200 recommendation votes, but you're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.